The Icon summer stretches here, and it's a long one. Gateway takes us into June and the summer months this evening in what will feel like a bit of a sprint race. Just 144 laps at this 1.25 mile facility means every inch matters towards today's totals and towards the championship. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Madison, Illinois. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Burtis alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for continuing coverage of the 2024 Icon Cup Series. Tonight's coverage from Gateway is brought to you by Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, and by CC's Business. And Zach, Gateway, or Worldwide Technology Raceway as it's now called, very, very cool place. One of the most unique tracks that you could possibly visit on any oval racing calendar, and I'm so glad that the NASCAR Cup Series finally goes to this place as of 2022, and Joey Logano got his first Gateway win, and well, first Gateway win anybody could have gotten. Now his teammate goes and backs it up today. Penske, the Fords, they look good at Gateway. Who might get the win today, though, in the Icon Cup Series? That's a question we've got to answer, and it starts with this track map, which for some reason, when I first took laps here, I always thought turns 1 and 2 were the wide end of the racetrack. I don't know why, but it's the narrow end of the racetrack, opposite to Darlington, much like Darlington actually used to be. That narrow end of the racetrack, that real tight, highly banked turns 1 and 2, I think decides this every lap around this place.
Like you're talking about, Andrew, where turns 1 and 2 are a little bit different from 3 and 4, but this is a big drastic difference, and there's a lot of characteristics with 1 and 2 here at this racetrack that make it really, really special. You know, it's said, you know, that you want to run top to bottom, hit an apex, and be able to drive it right off the corner, but at this track, it's a lot better to run the middle of the higher groove than 1 and 2, because that's where a lot of the speed is. Usually, most times, you see drivers getting side by side in 1 and 2, and the car on the bottom tends to get loose, slide up, and end up going around. So it's very interesting how the characteristics play into it. Not to mention Gateway, or Worldwide Technology Raceway, hosts a slew of other things. They've got an infield road course section that Trans Am comes and runs periodically. You've got the infield go-karting track that there is used quite a bit here. But today, we'll be doing it on the old-fashioned oval. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's funny you say old-fashioned. This place opened as, well, Gateway International Raceway, now Worldwide Technology Raceway, in 1985. The oval was built in 1997. So the road course predates the oval by quite a bit there, and they were running road course races here even beyond 1985. It was just a different layout, different facility, but this place has been in action for a while in the St. Louis area, which is why, of course, we call it St. Louis for the round. Also, I just noticed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's on me. I can't believe I left that in there. Wow. Anyways, let's take a look at point standings.
We're still coming off the month of May. It's okay. We all have that little hangover from the month of May, but hey, it's the month of June. We got Le Mans coming up.
That we do. Let's take a look at our Whiplash SimCams track map. That was the previous graphic. I got to get with it here. But our point standings for the Icon Cup Series, Brian Smith on top with 5 wins, and that is not a mistake you see there at 2nd and 3rd. Nathan Finnegan is technically above Vincent Loria because Vincent Loria's first win at Martinsville does not count from penalty. So it does not count towards the playoffs. And Finnegan is higher than Loria in points. So, until Loria passes Finnegan in points, which might happen today with as far off as I saw the 6 car at one point, Loria is a win ahead, but position behind in the playoff grid. Ryan Patty, Timothy Harper, they now bump into the top 5, and Harper is below the cut line by points, Zach, but bumps into the top 16 with that Bristol Motor Speedway win. He needs a short track to come up, apparently, because he has not been doing well lately, but you know what? He's second in practice, so we'll see if the 12 guard can get back to his usual ways. Then you see everybody else in those blue, in that blue color with the points above the cut line, or yellow, which is points below. Very interesting setup we have at this point, and a very spread out cut line.
Well, if you want to talk about how the metrics plays everything out right now, we had discussed last week, before we got the playoff grid set in stone right here, that Timothy Harper, like you said, he was below the cut line, but he wasn't factored into the points gap. Brad Delp, after factoring in Timothy Harper, was about 12 points back, and he had a really, really strong run at Charlotte last week, and now he only closed about 1 point. You had Brock Hersey, who had a really strong run as well. He lost ground. He's 34 points back. Cameron Thompson was up running towards the front as well at Charlotte, still 60 points back. A lot of these guys are having strong runs, and the ability is seen that they could put themselves in a position to lock in the playoffs and force out a lot of these faster guys that we saw running up front most of the time, like Sean Purcell. He was running up front the entire time, and he's sitting only about 23 points to the cut. So there's a lot to play with only, what, about 13 races left to go in the regular season?
Thereabouts, yeah. We're racing to, I believe, race 25 is the cutoff, so 12 races actually. We are over the hump and closer now to the playoffs than the start of the season. We are really getting down to crunch time. This summer stretch is when these guys have to make their points, and if you're Charlie Widener, you need a win. Jacob Gladulich, you need a win. Justin Bissonette, you need a win. Not because they need a win to get into the playoffs, but because you need to start getting yourself those playoff points. You need to start setting yourself up for the back end of this season. Otherwise, these guys are letting the top 5 drivers run away with this thing, and so far, that's actually exactly what's happening. You see, 12 races complete. All of those, or rather 13 races complete. There we go. 12 of those wins in the top 5. So something really needs to change. If you're in this top 10 area but don't have a win yet, you've got to go up there and get yourself a checkered flag. You have to figure out how to beat the 78 car. And if you're Cody Neal, something has to change. Something has to come together. It's been a lot of bad luck for Cody all season long. But at some point, something has got to change, and maybe it's the driver. I'm not at all saying Cody's put himself in bad spots, but maybe he needs to just change the way he approaches these races to get away from whatever is causing this bad luck. I don't know, but it has been an awful season for Cody Neal. He's still 43 above the cut line. If you're guys like Brad Delph, Brock Hersey, Anthony DeSeo, this is when you need to buckle down and get those runs together and go for broke. You see, top of the board in qualifying as qualifying opens up is car 12, Timothy Harper. We'll talk about the schedule here in a little while, but let's get down and talk about qualifying. Zach, car 12 on track. He's quick, just like I talked about him needing to be. He needs to back up that Bristol win.
Yeah, Timothy Harper has been quite strong. He was one of the strong contenders in Charlotte, and he got a lot of bad luck. And coming back to the line, let's see if he improves right here. He does.
By a bit.
Top of the board still. 25-9.
Got a quarter second nearly back to Kyle Purcell in second. Anthony Campbell now across the line. He has completed 1 lap in qualifying. Coming around to complete lap 2 as Cody Neal completes lap 2 and moves up the board to second place.
Now a lot of these guys starting to pull in their fast laps. See Bissonette on track. He's already completed lap number 1. This is lap number 2. I love these onboard shots, Andrew. Absolutely amazing to see how these drivers are trying to handle the racetrack. We see Bissonette take a wider line as Loria goes top of the board.
No surprise, he won practice.
Almost a tenth of a second right there. Coming off of turn number 4, let's see what Bissonette can run. Ooh, he taps the wall. I think that's going to allow the lap.
Nearly got the fence there. Did he hit the fence? Either way, he was slower, so it's not going to matter for the 06 car. There's Clemens coming in after a 7th place run. How about Nathan Finnegan on track currently? Set up in 8th after lap 1. Let's see if he can go any further north here. Downshifts to 4th gear, right along the curbing, trying to hold that car down. Back in the gas. Fully back to throttle now as he comes up off the making through the Geico restart zone to the start-finish line. It's faster, but that's not going to be pole. That is position number 4, though, so the 6 car picks up everything he was lacking in practice. There's Evan Patinko, and whoa, what a new paint scheme there. Hello. Oh, he's got a different number. Whoa. That might be intended for a different league. That or he changed his number.
Well, he doesn't have the Icon Cup Series.
Yeah, I think that's intended for a different league.
There. Well, mistakes tend to happen sometimes with these drivers, but hey, what are you going to do? I will say that 44 paint scheme for Clemens, absolutely beautiful Ernie Irvin throwback. And look at here, we got a new paint scheme for Brian Smith as well.
I think he's run this maybe one time before. Maybe. It is definitely one of his newer cars. He had that green 78 for so long, but here he goes out of turn number 4. A minute left in qualifying. This is to the stripe to complete his qualifying run. So he can go any faster. He's going to go faster, but not fast enough for pole. That'll be position number 2 for Brian Smith in the 78. We do have a couple more waiting to go, and it looks like Jacob Gladulich might be the final heavy hitter to actually go out and run a qualifying lap.
See what he can do here. He's coming off of turn number 2. Currently on
He's only going to get 1 lap in, I think.
No, I think no, you're right. He's only going to be able to get 1 lap in, so Gladulich has to make this count. Brings a bit of a wider line. arcs it in, doesn't take it all the way to the curbing, trying to build some momentum here, see if he can take it off of turn number 4 through the guy car restart zone, and this is going to be 33.82. That is not the best lap. That is going to slot him in line around 13th.
Not bad, though, honestly, all things considered. That's starting in the top half of the field, which is really all you can ask a driver to do in this kind of race.
Lap too, but he's not going to make it back right here.
Nice view of the catch fence there on the back stretch, and that'll do it for 29 cars in qualifying. There has been a number change for one driver. That would be Blake Hoppy. He is in the field this evening. He's a part-timer, moving from car number 23 over to car number 91. We'll take a look at his paint scheme here soon. But let's take a look at our CC's Business starting grid on pole. Oh, hello. Oh, it's warm-up. I'm silly. We're not starting the race just yet. We got 5 minutes, and then we'll take a look at that graphic. Which means, Zach, we can take a look at some of the paint schemes on the racetrack, including that of Zach Lockett, newly moved down to the Catawba County area of North Carolina, so not so far away from here. The New Jersey Devils fan, new paint scheme on board that number 93 Chevrolet. And boy, I'm not a Devils fan. I'm a Golden Knights fan, but I like the paint scheme.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm a big fan of linear designs on the paint schemes. I think flames and most things like that have been done to death. I know you've called me out on it before because I'm a Jeff Gordon fan, but bear with me. These designs look amazing when it comes to the type of car that we have now. We're progressing into the future, and these linear designs make it look so much better, especially with the number push forward. That's why I'm a big fan of Clemens' paint scheme. It's an Ernie Irvan throwback, and here's Anthony Campbell's Air Force scheme. I like that one too. That looks really nice with the British racing green, as Lenny Baticki refers to it as.
A little off from British racing green, kind of a drab green, but it's in the family at least. Here's Anthony DeSeo with his new paint scheme of choice. I believe that's St. Clair Shores downtown. Gonna have to get more information from Anthony on that. Yeah, the Pit Stop TV logos look fantastic. And of course, you were talking about the 44 car of Joshua Clemens, who does have that Kodak throwback. However, it may not be Ernie Irvan. There have been many drivers to run this kind of paint scheme, Kodak paint scheme. I mean, Sterling Marlin's in that category. I threw back recently to, God, I can't remember his name, but in the Nora Truck Series. Why can't I think of it? He drove the car in 1988 rather. Regardless, there have been a handful of drivers to run a very similar paint scheme, but it does look good.
And there's Pit Stop TV on the back bumper, or at least on the deck lid, as Timothy Harper goes fastest in the warm-up. A lot of these guys are just taking this time to dial in their cars, see what they can do, and gives us plenty of time, like you said, to look at these beautiful paint schemes.
Rick Wilson, that's who it was.
Ah, there you go.
Rick Wilson, another driver who drove a very similar paint scheme. Now, this one's definitely not a Rick Wilson throwback. It's going to be closer to Ernie Irvan or maybe even Sterling Marlin. But regardless, a lot of cool paint schemes on the racetrack. Kyle Purcell still sporting that same Fruit Snacks number 01 that we so much enjoy. You know who else had a new paint scheme? At least I thought, was Cody Eldred. He told us to refresh Trading Paints, but that looks the same as it has. Regardless, it's got old school's coins on the hood, so that's a good thing for the 32 car, rather.
That's my number.
Yes, you're the 02. Maybe one day we'll enter you into one of these icon races. It's gonna be hard to go out and beat. There we go. I'm all over the place tonight. I tell you what, I couldn't even watch the Gateway race, the NASCAR Cup Series race today, but the final 9 laps or so, and boy, was that a tumultuous time. I don't know if Timothy Harper wants to be running this car number here today, though.
Yeah, no, it might be a little bit of a bad luck curse, especially same font, all looks the same. It's almost scary similar, but hey. I think he's putting himself in a beautiful position right now to be able to win this race and, honestly, maybe get himself some solid points here today. There's a lot of racing still left to go, and we've got Sonoma, a road course, right after this. And that was actually going to bring up my next question for you, Andrew. How do you think these drivers are going to fare when we go to the road course next week? We've only ever been to one road course previously so far, and that was Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. So
that it was.
A lot to gauge at the moment with only one road course on the season so far.
I agree, and you see there's 2 road courses in this next stint, and then 2 more at the very back end of the schedule with the playoffs. So we have Sonoma, we have Chicago very, very quickly coming up. Sonoma next week for 66 laps. Then we go out to Iowa, New Hampshire, Nashville, then Chicago at race 19. So these 2 road courses are going to separate the men from the boys for sure. I think Brian Smith is going to be one of the drivers to watch. I think Vincent Loria is going to be in that category. Pretty much the same drivers that you would expect up front will be up front again on these road courses. So anybody who, again, is some kind of outlier, some kind of wild card, needs to get their stuff together, run those practice laps, and get yourself fast at these racetracks if you want a chance to beat them and make the playoffs. Another graphic to pull up before we go racing this evening, the upcoming broadcast here at Pit Stop TV. Let's see if we can not overlay a bunch of graphics, Andrew. Here we go. New Hampshire tomorrow night with the Misfit Touring Series late model stocks out at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Then we go out to Chicago on the street course. So a little bit of a preview of what these icon drivers will be seeing in a handful of weeks. About a month, actually, the week of July 4th. But a preview there of what we'll see in that race as we go racing on the Chicago streets with the XCal Racing Web Shop Series here in 2024. And then this weekend, Zach, a really big one for us. The Majors 24. We're going to Le Mans with the Major Series. That is, I never ever would have imagined that we'd do it on Pit Stop TV, but here we are. They cover the first 6 and the last 6 of the Majors 24, subject to change. But boy, what an opportunity this is going to be for us this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun.
For them, we're going to be the ones waking up at how early in the morning, and considering my work schedule, that is going to be horrendous, especially with just following that, not 2 days later, the official start of the Cookout Summer Shootout, which I will be competing in, and I'm going to need my bed rest for that one.
It's going to be a fun day for sure. Cars rolling off the grid. Let's roll through our top 10 and the rest of the field. Vincent Loria on pole. Brian Smith second place. Fall back to row number 2 with Timothy Harper, Cody Neal. Nathan Finnegan rounds out our top 5 starters this evening. If you go a little bit further back, how about Kyle Purcell, Kevin Gunther in this top 10, Justin Bissonette starting up front, and how about Joshua Clemens and especially Anthony Campbell back in the field this evening, starting from the 10th spot.
Yeah, moving through the rest of the field, Brad Delph, another good qualifying effort for Delph. He's up in the 11th spot. Zach Lockett right behind him, moving through what is now just a little bit outside your top 15. Now my words are all over the place. Jacob Ladulich, Evan Patinko, your 13th and 14th place starters. And I think we skipped 15th and 16th, which here tonight would be Steven Tuck and Charlie Widener. Moving through, we're just going to let them all roll, and rolling through 3 and 4, that pace truck's going to make a hard left turn on the pit road, Andrew, and we are going to go racing here tonight.
The rest of the field will scroll on by on the bottom of your screen as we prepare to go racing for 144 laps. 29 cars in the field waiting on the call to go green. Like a restart zone for Vincent Loria. Green flag for the Icon Cup Series. Immediately a big start for Brian Smith. Cody Neal, Timothy Harper, they're going to fight for third just behind. But a big start for the 78 car spells trouble for everybody else.
Yeah, one thing that makes this so tricky is that this track sometimes acts like a road course when it comes to passing. You wait too long to make passes and you sit too far back. You're going to end up losing a lot more time than you really want to as we take the first lap here at Gateway to Brian Smith. He is getting a healthy lead right now as everyone gets single file.
Kyle Purcell still in the top 5. That's Nathan Finnegan right behind. And yeah, the 4 car up the racetrack. The 4 has not had good luck here at Gateway today. Trying to change that is Cody Neal. But an off run through turns 1 and 2. That time as Vincent Loria tries to track the 78 car back down for the race lead.
That was a big wiggle out of Cody Neal. Congrats on the save, my guy. That was very, very good. Now he's going to be stuck fighting on the outside. Kyle gets loose himself. Oh, these drivers are getting aggressive with these new tires that they have. Cold tires for the first couple of laps. Everybody's got to remember that. So they're getting real, real loose, though, as Loria still trying to attack. Oh, my goodness. My words are all over the place now. Whatever you got, I caught.
Out of turn 3, Loria with the downshift pulls right to the inside lane, trying to find some kind of air there. to help the downforce on car 67 as he pursues the 78 for the race lead. 3 laps complete this time by the flag stand. Love the sound of cars flying by the speed shot. Anthony Campbell, Kevin Gunther back here fighting for the 8th and 9th positions. One car slow, it's Daniel Nyman. He goes all the way to the back end of the field.
What happened to him is drivers can...
Whoa, one spinning. It's Blake Hoppy in the 91. He's just going to save the car. No caution. Wow.
Doesn't look like any damage on that car either, so it looks like he's going to keep on rolling, not taking it to the pit lane here. So he is still well within...
Oh,
he's
hello.
again.
Sliding in 3 and 4, just going to hang on to the car. The leaders are well behind him, but they are catching quick as they're onto the backstretch.
Those tires are cooked, Andrew.
Wonder if that was a gear issue the second time, but there's Hoppy now fully under speed. And tries to get things back under control. What a rough start for the 91 car. Just changed numbers over to the 91 from the 23. Talked about that in pre-race, and boy, what a problem there. Let's talk about a Whiplash SimCam's race details, though. It's a 144-lap race on stage 1. Very short. Only 27 laps. We'll then race to the completion of lap 84 in stage number 2. And then to the end of the race for stage number 3. 5 change sets, no fast fix, and the fuel window is approximately 42 to 48 laps, so we'll see a pit stop in each of the second and third stages, but not here in stage 1.
I think that's going to be pretty much a call to action for quite a few of these drivers to just kind of see what they can do in this first stage here, since they don't have to worry about a pit stop. As we see Cody Neal trying to make a move on Timothy Harper, trying to gain back some positions that he lost after sliding all the way up the racetrack in 1 and 2. Side by side going into 3, it looks like might be able to hang on, see if he can take this spot away.
Yeah, this is the fight for 3rd. Kyle Purcell and Justin Bissonette fight for 6th and 7th just behind. Brzezowski and Campbell are side by side. You've got Purcell and Delph close by. A lot of cars racing here early at Gateway. I mean, this is definitely a racetrack where you can get a lot of these fights. You can definitely race one another, but it is going to be difficult to pass, as you talked about earlier.
Absolutely, it is. It's always difficult to pass in these next-gen race cars. They are quite temperamental at some of these tracks. And we see Cody Neal looking at his revs and how fast he's going right now. He's going from 4th to 3rd.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was just about to draw this circle and highlight this. Up to 4th in the front stretch. Does he pull 5th?
Here.
No, he's letting it rev, which is going to burn more fuel and actually going to shorten what he can do in terms of a fuel run.
At least in the first stage.
Correct. Surprised, though. I'm really surprised they're dipping to 3rd. All the way to 3rd when you got 5 gears. It's kind of crazy to me.
Well, it's one heck of a strategy call. You see Harper up the racetrack. Cody Neal's going to try to get a bit of a run here, but it seems like these drivers are getting better runs on corner exit when they let the car drift up a little through center instead of trying to just kind of drive it up off the corner and utilize these wide exits that they have here at Gateway.
Got a dime in the corner.
Say again.
Got a dime in the corner.
That's true, but at the same time, they're not diamonding the corner. They're just letting it drift on up.
Well, that's exactly what diamonding the corner is. You enter, hit the apex at the start of the corner, drift up in center, hit the apex again on exit.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. They're not hitting the apex again, or at least some of them are not hitting the apex again on corner exit. So there's some that are diamonding, there's some that are not. Like Harper. Timothy Harper was letting it drift all the way up, not diamonding the corner. So it's interesting to see how these drivers are still utilizing these runs while not either diamonding or just running a regular apex.
Right on board with Vincent Loria for position number 2. And we're almost already halfway through stage 1. It's happening quickly this evening. And I really feel like this is the sprint race of the season, which is interesting that we do it at such a unique racetrack. Only 144 laps here. That's a short race in terms of cup racing. And Kyle Purcell just pulled 5th here. So he's pulling 5th on the straights. Cody Neal is not. Let's see. Let's pull up the traffic one more time as he tries to get back to Bissonette, and he won't. Bissonette does grab the fence. There's 4th. Wait for it. No fifth on the back stretch. No fifth into 3, but let's watch it here on the front stretch because he had fifth this last lap.
I was going to say, the back stretch comes up a little bit shorter than the front stretch does. He rolled fourth through 3 and 4 as well, instead of shifting down to third.
There's fifth.
There it is, fifth year.
Told you I wasn't crazy.
I never thought you were. Not for a second. Maybe a little.
Zach Lockett and Nathan Brzezowski back into the top 10 here. Kevin Gunther just ahead. He gets free. Real free. It's the 31 car. He was all over the place as now Cody Neal gets the best of Timothy Harper to turn 3. Hello. Position change for 3rd spot. And for 6th. Purcell just rolled by Bissonette. They're side by side still as they work down the front stretch.
Bissonette's got the nose. Is he going to be able to hang on to it in turn 1? Here comes Purcell to the inside. Gets to the quarter panel. May upset the car.
Yeah, there it is.
Big slide.
You called it. Got real free that time. They've each been in the fence a couple times recently. Fall back. You got Lockett, Brzezowski in line. Then you've got Campbell, Purcell, Sean Purcell, that is, Brad Delph, Joshua Clemens. A couple of fights deep in this field will include Daniel Nyman, Hanover Fist, and Eric Smith. Very back end of the field right now.
How about Brzezowski?
Oh, crash in the back. It's Blake Hoppy. He has just pounded the outside wall on his own. Leaders are approaching. He's going to get down and out of the way.
No caution.
Wow. We just saw that in the background.
He stays on the racetrack.
He smoked the wall.
That might be a bad call on his part right there. I don't know if he's got some toe damage. That wheel could be skewed with the right front impact.
Suspension seems okay, which must be his basis for this decision, but as the leaders come up, this Foback 91 with the old logo on the hood, new logo on the side, this might get a little bit scary for these guys. Purcell and Bissonette still fighting back here. Purcell now on the outside, Bissonette inside, as Cody Neal and company approach that damaged 91 car.
I think the strategy here is just stay out, be the first car 1 lap down when the caution comes out in just about 10 laps here. Might be a safe bet, but at the same time, if he's got that much damage, can he make it 10 more laps?
It's a really good question. 11 to go that time by. Here goes Cody Neal on the outside of Blake Hoppy, right where he got free earlier and had this issue. And Blake will now duck in line behind the 4 car as Nathan Finnegan squares up with the 12 of Timothy Harper and goes right on by into turn 3. Harper is weak on corner entry, at least into turn 3, and that allowed a big lunge that time for the 6.
Yeah, but this is a strong run off the 4. Look at how much he pulls on the front straightaway. He may get clear going into 1, just about, but he's going to leave the space. Finnegan falls back in line. Harper up the racetrack. They'll still be side by side coming off of 2.
Real good run through 1 and 2 there for Finnegan. He is on the inside, has his nose there, side drafting a bit. On entry to 3, you can see he does the exact same thing, lunges up the inside. Really good stuff here for the 4th spot, and they are losing to the 4 car now. Sliding up as the 6, that's clear for 4th.
Talk about losing to the 4 car. Cody Neal is almost 3 full seconds behind Brian Smith, who's only 2 tenths in front of Vincent Loria. Those 2 drive. Oh, Cody Neal! He is sliding through 1 and 2. He caught that car beautifully, hung on to it.
This might be one of the best driver track races of the season, honestly. Up there with places like Bristol and Darlington and such. As here's a move from Brzezowski to the inside of Gunther.
I wanted to make a comment here about Brzezowski before we saw the spinning 91 into the outside wall. Brzezowski is up 10 spots right now. He started 19th.
I don't think he actually qualified as moves up the inside here of Gunther in the top 10. This is for 8th position. I don't think he ran a qualifying lap. Oh! That's real free. What a catch.
These drivers are all over the place. So on edge tonight.
Anthony DeSeo, Thomas Taylor here in the back. DeSeo goes up the racetrack way up, and he has clobbered the wall at some point. Look at all the damage to the right front.
Might have had some help to go on the racetrack right there. That seemed very big out of the 15.
On board, Anthony Campbell working on Sean Purcell. This is just outside the top 10. In fact, Purcell runs 14th. Or, sorry, 11th. I don't know where I got 14th from. 11th in the 04. Maybe that's where I got the 4 from. Campbell moves up the racetrack and solidifies P12. Here comes Clemens.
Taking a look, thinks better of it, falls back in line.
Campbell trying to make Clemenade and pull away from the 44 car.
Wow. How long did it take you to come up with that one?
Not very long, actually. I'm proud of that one. When life gives you Clemens, make Clemenade. Nobody?
No. Could add a little Clement lime to that soda.
Here we go. Clemens a move down the backstretch. Working on the 73 of Campbell. Hasn't been here in a couple of races, and that is a move for position.
He checked up real early going into the corner. Allowed Clemens to put that car in there, but it seems like he's still going to stay side by side. That's reeling in the 2 cars behind them, who are also trying to fight. That is Delphin Patinko.
Brad Delphin, who paint scheme for that 72 car, as Clemens nearly comes up into the 73.
Talk about a close one. Not clear off the corner, but I think he'll be able to fall back in line. He's going to leave the space, though. Clemens and Campbell still side by side. Wow. That's Purcell right in front of them, who's a little slow going into the corner. Not sure what happened there. They're going to reel him in a little bit. Still fighting side by side, but Clemens finally clears off turn number 4. Only about 3 laps to go on the stage.
Remember, the top 5 are the only 5 who get stage points here as Campbell falls back in the 13th spot. Up ahead, lapped traffic now for Brian Smith and Vincent Loria. These two, I think, are easy championship 4 locks right now. And
these two have been so strong, Andrew.
And maybe you don't get both of them in the championship 4, but you know that one of them, at the very least, is going to be in the championship 4 later this season. And this is the final race of probation for the 67, going back to the penalty at Martinsville. This is his final race of probation. He might just let things loose here after this week at Gateway.
Yeah, you see them getting by Eric Smith here and hand over fist to put them laps down. That's not going to help the 91 as you see them clearing the lap traffic. 2 laps to go in the stage. Loria has closed the gap by just a bit under a tenth of a second. So he's still within a decent margin of our leader, Brian Smith. Do we see him be patient, or do we see him try to go for the stage win? Someone just smoked it out of turn number 2.
Was that Fist in the 69? I think so.
No, I think that was the 57 right here, Thomas Taylor, as he is very, very slow.
Well, here we go. White flag in the air for stage 1, this time by. And that was a big bobble out of the 67 of Loria. I'd be concerned if I were him. He's got one more shot.
It's a slight run here coming off of turn number 2. Brian Smith tagged the fence. That's going to allow Loria to close back in. Smith has nothing to worry about.
I don't think you'll see a pass made here. No, Loria a bit deep into the corner. He might close up, but not going to make any pass this time. So Brian Smith, out of turn number 4, will win stage number 1 at Gateway. The rest of the field will come on by, but caution is out. Brought to you by CC's Business. The top 5 get points. Nathan Finnegan nearly got to Cody Neal there for the 3rd spot. But Neal will go 3rd. The 6th of Finnegan will go 4th, and Harper will go 5th. As your stage 1 winner picks up right where he left off at Charlotte.
Still doing great things in that 78 car. Like you said, Andrew, obviously these front runners are definitely a championship lock. Brian Smith, Vincent Loria. I don't want to pull a commentator's jinx, though. Something could happen during the playoffs that could negatively affect their championship hopes. So I would very sincerely hope that they just keep pumping out these great results.
I've got to believe, again, at least one of these two is in the Final 4, and I think it's an easy lock to say the 78 car has got to go. He's got to get a win in each of those rounds, right? I mean, we can pull up the schedule graphic one more time. the races in the playoffs, Daytona, Darlington, Atlanta, that's the only round he really has to get through where I think, and he's mentioned this, where I think he might have struggles. Otherwise, Watkins Glen and Kansas, right in his wheelhouse. Charlotte and Las Vegas, right in his wheelhouse. Miami, Martinsville even, Phoenix, all tracks that are right in the 78 car's wheelhouse, right where I think we could expect him to do really, really well. So we'll talk more about that as the evening goes on, but here we go. Cars down the pit lane for service for the first time tonight.
See those front two, well out in front. You see the 91 staying on the racetrack, trying to get that lap back, maybe take it back to pit road, hopefully get that damage fixed, but now we see the cars taking it to the boxes.
Loria and Smith into their boxes. Loria has to adjust. Smith should absolutely win this race off the pit lane. Loria, your pole sitter, are going to have to check his game for pitting, as Gladulus will roll through and technically be the first car off pit lane. Loria to follow. Harper going to be beat out by the 4 car. There goes the 01 of Kyle Purcell, nearly beating the 12.
That was a close one. Very, very close one.
There's Jacob Gladulus, who rolls through to enable himself to pit at the end of the stage. An all-green flag, stage number 1, gives us, yet again, another stage win for the 78 car. Will bring up our stage 1 winner. And Zach, you want to take a stab at this guy?
Absolutely. Brian Smith, winner, stage 1. You're picking right where you left off from Charlotte. And the speed is definitely real in this 78. How you feeling so far?
I'm feeling pretty good. The track feels extra gripped up, which is a good thing if you ask me. And stage 1 went as planned. Got the win.
Absolutely. You got a lot of good stage points rolling. Do you think you have a good car for the rest of the race?
I do. Not sure if the 14's planning on staying out here. It looks like he is, so that should make things interesting. But hopefully I can keep it up front. I think it's going to be a game of track position, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I think if we're not mistaken here, Andrew, I think the 14 of Gladulus took 2 tires in pit lane, so that might be a little bit of an
negative.
Battle
No
for
pit
you.
stop.
Oh,
So I think what he's doing here, and Brian maybe can back me up, is he's gonna not pit stage 1 here at the break and go a little ways into stage 2 because you have to pit anyway. So he's getting all this track position. He's gonna lose it decently quick. Brian, how's the tire fall off?
At the end of that run, I think it was about 1 second. So I think we're definitely going to see some 2 tires. Maybe even some no tires, although it looks like the 14's pitting here. So I'm guessing he just missed his pit stall. But there's definitely going to be some tire play coming in here, especially as it transitions tonight. I think the track's just going to pick up more speed even as we go on. So it'll be interesting.
Well, you're definitely doing everything right now. You're holding on to the lead. You got Loria behind you, Cody Neal sitting in the wind, but keep on going. You got stage 2 coming up, and we look forward to seeing how well you can do it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Hopefully I'm talking to you in a little bit.
Absolutely. Brian Smith, your stage 1 winner. And Andrew, I did not expect to actually see the fall off being around a second for these guys. That's really insane to me. I figured it'd be a little bit less than that, actually. More around maybe 7 to 8 tenths.
And yet I expected more fall off, as there's been a problem for Ryan Patty in the 30 car. Let's quickly dial him up and see maybe what happened to him. We will grab driver number 30. Give me a moment. And here we go. Driver of the number 30 Chevrolet. Ryan, what happened there under caution?
Hey, yeah, I'm dealing with some technical issues here. I've got something going on with my brakes where I'm losing brake pressure mid-corner. So trying to figure that out right now.
Well, we'll move you back down. Best of luck here. Hopefully it gets sorted out.
Appreciate you.
Quick crash course interview right there. Brake problems for the 30, so he was in the pit lane for a lap trying to sort that out. What also needs to be sorted out is the fact that Nathan Finnegan, Zach, he dropped down to the 7th position from 4th, nearly 3rd at the end of stage 1. That is a critical drop for the 6 car. Now you've got Purcell and Bissonette in between him and those cars he was racing. This is going to be a very interesting restart with Brian Smith choosing the outside, waiting on the green flag. You see it there in the air. Geico restart zone for Brian Smith, and we are back underway at Gateway. A big restart here for Timothy Harper. He's on the outside of the 67 of Loria. Can he fight down to turn number 3? He's on the outside, and he did great from the outside in stage 1.
Oh, big snap! He's in the
Whoa.
wall!
Unbelievable.
One
And
driver
once
that absolutely needed. And
caution's
then
out.
oh,
Oh, you see
spinning
Rakowski
behind.
spinning behind. Brock Hersey, Anthony DeSeo, Luke Rakowski all spun out in turn 4. Thomas Taylor goes to the pit lane to miss it. I think Ryan Patty may have got a small piece. Do you think his brake issue was part of the problem?
It very well could be.
I don't see any damage
much
on his
damage.
nose, but we'll find out.
That's a big save for Timothy Harper. He's going to be able to go to the pit lane, get any damage fixed without losing too much time or a lap.
No contact, just loosen the downshift.
Goodness. That's going to be some heavy aero damage to the side of that car. Hopefully the toe's not knocked out, but there's the
Whoa.
incident. Oh, goodness.
Broski spins after the fact, but that was mostly issue for Hersey and DeSeo. I want to go back and watch the 12 car one more time. I want to listen on board. Yeah, he just got free as the car slowed down, and then something happens. I think DeSeo got up into Hersey. You see them crash into the wall in the background.
Hearing from Timothy Harper, he was communicating with Vincent Loria. They were trying to determine whether or not there was some fault there, and Timothy said that he just ended up getting loose under braking and downshift. So just like you said, Andrew, it can be very tough to handle these cars when it comes to downshifting and braking at the same time. If you over rev it, it has the possibility to spin on you.
DeSeo dives into turn 3. Hersey was there, up the racetrack some, and they just make contact. Boom, outside wall. Really heavy hit for those two, and they're both, I think, out of the race at this point. Certainly Anthony is. The front end gone off of that car. My question is, did something happen down here in 1 and 2 maybe? Because, no, I mean, he's well back. I don't know. I don't know how Anthony got to him that quickly.
That was a send to end all sends, really. See the run here off of turn number 2. He's getting a decent run. He's still pretty far back coming off of turn number 2, but then going into 3, this is where the magic happens. Wow! Heads up by Hersey. You see that coming. Still gets an impact, but it could have very much been worse than it was.
The driver out of Michigan, I think, has a little work to do to that 15 car after that. Brian Smith, of course, still leading the race. A couple other cars down pit lane. There's Blake Hoppy in the 91. Had all that issue in stage 1. Thomas Taylor just out of the pit lane. There's Hanover Fist. Timothy Harper comes into the pit lane here, and Ryan Patty just took the lucky dog.
Ryan Patty back on the lead lap now. That's going to help him, especially with his brake issues. And then we've got not too much else going on. I will say, as we see Timothy Harper coming into the pit lane, Thomas Taylor has received a black flag. Not sure what it's for, but definitely worth noting, as I think Harper's going to have a lengthy amount of time in the pit lane. Does he have a skewed wheel or anything, though? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I would say so. Gonna get some repairs made, but there's a lot of work to be done to that 12 car. You mentioned the penalty for Thomas Taylor. We can go back and see maybe what happened to him and what might be the reason for that. Let's go back and find the 57. And we're going to do something I don't do often. We're going to fast forward and just kind of watch here if maybe he makes contact with somebody or something else. I wonder if maybe he requested a end of line penalty. We can go back maybe to the caution and see if something happened there.
No ELOs listed for Thomas Taylor in the 57. So it might be speeding on pit road, something like that. Maybe something minuscule that we're missing.
This is him going into the caution. Oh, I think he had to serve a penalty from the previous caution. And the caution came out, so his penalty has not been served. That explains why he was down the pit lane as the crash happened. That makes a whole lot more sense as the field is doubled up, ready to go back racing.
Hopefully he can get that served before another caution comes out. Brian Smith has chosen the outside line once again. You've got Loria down on the bottom still. I think it's also worth noting, Cody Neal is still holding on to that 3rd spot. And that is Kyle Purcell. I didn't think it was for a second, but he is still running up there, trying to hold strong. And here we go once again, Andrew.
Geico restart zone for Brian Smith. And, almost a jump there from Vincent
Big stack on the
Loria.
bottom.
That really stacks him up down low. Restart, green flag in the air.
That could have been very, very nasty indeed. And now they're all stacking up. You see Brzezowski going backwards a little bit. Cody Neal lost a little bit to Purcell. And now...
Purcell, though, had a really big bobble off of turn 2, and that actually brings him back to the 4 car.
Yeah, but look at that outside line. He gets such good momentum. He's going to have such good drive off of turn number 4. Neal needs to make sure he nails that bottom line. Not going to clear just yet.
One car spinning is Nyman. The 51 around, cautions out. Once again, problems on the racetrack, and this time it's the Motorcraft Ford. 1 car in the pit lane is Thomas Taylor trying to serve that penalty again. Question is, did he make it to the pit commit line before that caution came out? I don't think so.
It's going to be unfortunate once again. Really railing his entire race at the moment.
Well, we're going to watch Daniel Nyman here racing with Charlie Widener, Cody Eldred, Kevin Gunther, and some others. A little bit free through 3 and 4. They were checking up ahead. That might have been the 93 who got loose, and then Nyman got loose himself and drifts around. That's going to be Rakowski who makes contact, and a simple spin to the 51 car.
On the plus side. Actually, I'm not sure where I was going with that. There is no plus side spinning.
No, not really. Here's Thomas Taylor trying to get down to the pit lane. Let's see, if we pick up the pace car here, when do those lights come on, Zach? This is the perfect camera for it. When do those lights come on? We'll pause right here. Where is the 57? That's not going to count.
No.
That's still not going to count for Thomas Taylor.
It's such a split-second reaction. I would have tried to at least turn right back onto the racetrack right there. He might have gotten an extra penalty, though. I think...
iRacing really needs to work on that commitment, as many cars are headed to the pit lane. Here we go. Vincent Loria. That's going to be Kyle Purcell. That's going to be Cody Neal, Nathan Brzezowski, Sean Purcell, Nathan Finnegan, Evan Patinko, Joshua Clemens. Many of the front runners, most of 2nd through 13th, I think. As Loria misses the box again. And it's fueling away for the 4 and the 01. Fueling away for the 67. They know the pit window, Zach. 57 laps here in Stage 2. You can make it about 42 to 48. Look what they're doing. They only have to run 40 from here. Thereabouts.
Yeah, and a few of those drivers lost spots on pit road. Loria lost spots to Neal and Purcell. Finnegan slid through his box. He lost about 3 spots on pit road. This is an interesting strategy call, I will say, because now you've got Brian Smith still up at the front by himself with Bissonette. Brian Smith has pretty much been in a league of his own, so I don't see Bissonette catching up to him. I do not see Stephen Tuck or Zach Lockett catching up to him on this green flag run.
Let's talk to driver 06 here, Justin Bissonette. We talk to him every once in a while. It's been a couple of weeks for sure, but we'll bring in driver number 06, who's about to restart, it looks like, on the inside of Brian Smith, who won Stage 1. Justin, you're staying out here when a lot of drivers just pitted because the fuel window just opened up. Do you have any concern there, or are you saving enough under caution here to nullify that?
Low single-digit laps away from making it, so if we have another caution or 2, I should be on the safe side. But honestly, the fall off is enough where I'm thinking even if we get another caution here, I shouldn't lose a whole bunch of track position pitting. I imagine everybody will come in and take tires, so I don't know. I don't think this ends up too bad for us, but we weren't going anywhere, just sitting in line anyway, so we'll try something new.
And the first car after pitting on fuel there is going to be 9th place, so you have a decent cushion. Any concern about how snappy these cars are? We've seen it get the best of just about everybody at one point or another.
No, I think I'm all right. I'm not getting like that snappy response that some of the other drivers are reporting, but I'm definitely burning through my right front a little bit harder than the rest of my teammates are indicating. So that's it's gonna be a little bit of a different set of challenges here as we get into the later runs.
Do you think there's any beating the 78 tonight?
I'm convinced on cold tires, some of these restarts, anything's possible, and it's such a big braking zone into one. I wouldn't be shocked if we have a random winner out of left field nobody's expecting tonight.
There you go. Justin Bissonette going to restart second place to the inside of Brian Smith as he'll choose the outside. Best of luck here, Justin.
Thanks, man. Take care.
So Brian Smith back to the top side of the racetrack, Zach, and I think a very measured interview with the driver of the 06 this evening. Sounds about like I expected he would. I mean, he's calm, ready to get back at it, not at all worried about those drivers who just pitted. And these guys are saving fuel under this caution. In fact, we can go on board with him. I'm sure he's been in high gear. He is down in second gear now, so he might not even be worried about fuel. He might understand that, yeah, he's still got to pit one more time. If it goes green, maybe he's in trouble, but counting on a caution. Even there we go. Clutch in. He is saving.
Big thing, too, here is that the drivers that pitted did not take tires. So they're still all on the same set of tires that they took under the initial caution during the stage. So there's no real huge performance difference there, and he might actually be able to coast away with a solid finish here.
It's a matter of saving that pit stop. That's what it comes down to. We'll restart on lap 44 with 41 laps to go in stage number 2. Geico restart zone again. Green flag is out for Brian Smith. They're all going to jingle jamble behind. I don't know what jingle jamble means. Not really sure where that one came from, Zach. It just kind of, that's what happened. That's what flowed out of my mouth. But back where everybody bidded, Kyle Purcell, Cody Neal, they're working on Kevin Gunther and Luke Kurkowski. This could be a little bit hairy to turn 3.
Yeah, Gunther did not get a very good restart. He bunched up the backfield a little bit as we see them all side by side, about 3 rows deep in that little group that they have. Purcell making his way forward side by side with Gunther, and that is going to be Kyle Purcell into the 7th.
Whoa, Luke Kurkowski and Sean Purcell, where are you guys going?
3 wide, wow. 3 wide.
Patinko bobbles off the corner. He slides up in front of Delph. Now Clemens going to go 3. A lot happening on these restarts. They are chaotic as now Delph gets passed up by Clemens. That's Gladjulich in tow. There goes Loria by Gunther. This is for 9th spot. Meanwhile, Kyle Purcell moves into 6th. Cody Neal follows into 7th. And Thomas Taylor finally served that penalty.
Kudos to Thomas Taylor finally getting that put in. And Andrew.
Whoa, hello. Whoa. 3 wide. Ryan Patty in this group.
Patty's back on the lead lap too, so he's trying to make some ground up.
Still having issues maybe with that brake pedal though, so we'll watch him here very, very closely into the harder of the 2 braking zones on this track. Gladjulich real slow there. The 14 car just got way out of shape. There's a lot happening all at once. Such as this fight right here.
Oh, that was close. Kyle Purcell making a move on Steven Tuck. Barely clear of Cody Neal. Puts that Toyota Camry on the rumble strip. Gets it driving well off the corner. And he is going to take over that 4th place spot. Cody Neal up to 5th. And look at Loria. He's trying to make some headway as well.
But Zach, why is that such an important move for Kyle Purcell to make? Well, it holds the 4 car behind him a little bit longer. Maybe he can scoot away here. These drivers trying to save a pit stop, they won't have to pit under green. If this stage goes green to the end, they will win the stage. One of these drivers will win the stage if we go green from here, because the top 3 will have to pit, those being Brian Smith, Justin Bissonette, and Zach Walker.
Someone just called out that they were pitting right here. I'm not sure who it was.
Thomas Taylor's pitting out. Not sure.
Anything on the racetrack right now. I did hear over race communications that someone was...
Car slow, caution, Joshua Clemens, the 44.
Not the Kodak car.
So Clemens in trouble. Another caution here in stage 2. A very clean and green stage 1, all 27 laps green. And problems now in stage 2. Here's Clemens into the corner on his own. Car just got away from him, downshift.
Yeah, it's very common. We've seen it too many times tonight. Luckily, no one got into surprised that was a yellow, considering that was a controlled incident. Mainly, the car got off the racetrack for the most part. So, interesting to see how that was all handled. But hey, kudos to him for getting it woed up, slowed down, and still being able to hang on to it.
It was, in fact, the downshift to third. I want to bring this back one more time. So watch the onboard here. And specifically, watch this little circle right about there. That's 5th gear. Down into the corner. Pulls 4th, and it's moving around a little bit, but you can watch that. It drops to 3, and that's where he gets loose.
So unfortunate. He was having such a solid run, and now he's got some cooked tires. So hopefully he's going to be able to get to pit lane and maybe put a fresh set on, or even just hang on to those right now and save a set for later, since you only have 5 sets. We got cars in the pit lane.
Yeah, a lot of those drivers who didn't pit the last time, they're coming in now. Kyle Purcell included. He's taking tires, though. Timothy Harper down the pit lane. You can see Anthony Campbell, Kevin Gunther, and others. Zach Lockett in this time. Cody Eldred, Charlie Widener, Brad Delph, Jacob Gladulich, all pitting under this yellow for varied levels of service. Purcell,
Really
though,
surprised.
takes 4 tires.
I'm really surprised to see Kyle Purcell in the pit lane.
Taking tires, especially. I know this is a short race. You got 6 sets total, but
I don't know where the call is for that one. That's a really out there call for the 0-1 of Kyle Purcell. I'm not sure.
yeah, he had actually pitted, huh? He
Yeah,
had already pitted.
He got in front. He was in the top 5 when we last checked on him. He was in front of Cody Neal. So now that moves the 4 car up in the running order, closer and closer, as well as Vincent Loria, who was struggling to make a few passes. So, I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure where the strategy is right here, but I'm sure Kyle knows what he's doing.
He must feel that the leaders now, Brian Smith, Justin Bissonette, who have not yet pitted, he must feel they have enough fuel to go to the end of the stage, and that he's better off pitting, taking tires, coming back through the field, but he's going to restart down in 17th. So that's a very, very tall order that he's got to make up. As Smith and Bissonette, sure, they have stayed out. This caution might be enough for them to save. Might.
Well, not to completely change gears here, but I figured out what your jingle jamble little saying means. Turns out it's jingle jangle, and it is a verb that to make a sound, and typically of metallic objects.
Well, jingle jamble is my copyrighted phrase now. I really don't know where my mind was going with it, but hey, that's sometimes how phrases are coined. So
well, they're gonna jingle jamble all the way into turn 1 here on this restart, as we see Clemens going to the back now, taking fault for that yellow, considering it was only him. Self-spin, so it makes sense. Dropping to the back, and we're closing in on halfway. We're about 20 laps from halfway, as we see Timothy Harper back in the pit lane to take more damage repair. He is going to be going 1 lap down right here, so he's still in contention. As you see the rest of the drivers having a lot of fun here at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Harper will stay on the lead lap. I think Gladulich is going to take the speeding penalty to stay on the lead lap. So he'll go to the rear of the field, but will stay. Let's see, Gladulich, yeah, he'll stay on the lead lap just barely. That's impressive how he's going to manage that one.
Would you believe me if I told you he didn't get a black flag for speeding?
I would not, actually.
No black flag for Gladulich. He is clean and green.
That's really surprising. Well, let's take one more look at our upcoming broadcasts here at Pit Stop TV while these guys run under caution. Next up, tomorrow night, we head out to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Zach, that's going to be fun. The Misfit Touring Series. We covered their Stafford race a month ago in the month of May. They run once a month throughout the summer of 2024, spring and summer. And next up, they go to New Hampshire. So a thank you to Misfit Touring Series and Podium Esports for calling us up once again. Meanwhile, Tuesday, we take over a broadcast for the XCal Racing Web Shop Series here in 2024. Street stocks at the Chicago Street Course, and then it's the Majors 24 this coming weekend. We'll talk more about that and more. Waiting on the green flag one more time. Green flag is back in the air at Gateway. And those guys with fuel now are caught up. So do the 78 and 06 have enough fuel to go to the end? We're going to find out if this stage goes green. That's a big if right now. We've been seeing a slew of cautions as Loria pokes to the inside of Bissonette. 3 wide in the back with Gunther.
All over the place as they roll through the corner. Look at the 73 slide up the racetrack. I believe that was Steven Tuck right there. Excuse me, no, that was Anthony Campbell. Getting a little confused here tonight. Loria backing off of Bissonette going into the corner. You see Bissonette sliding, getting really, really loose. That's going to allow that 67 to slide underneath, get side by side, and he's going to bring Cody Neal with him.
Looking to the inside here in turns 3 and 4, and car 67 will make that big lunge, that big move. Whoa,
Oh.
just cleared him. Wow.
That was crazy close. I don't think Bissonette's going to be very happy about that one. He's still got to run. He's
Oh,
sliding,
Bissonette fires
wrapping
up inside, gets hit by Neal in the slide job,
Brzezowski's in the wall. He's going backwards.
and he's broke. He's very broke. Wow, the steer goes a lot more straight than I thought it would be. He hit the wall pretty
I
hard.
don't think he's very broke. That car might not actually have touched the wall, Andrew. I don't see any right side.
Oh, you know who did? This is 79, Eric Smith.
That was a big catch and straight head on into the wall. He is going to be done for the evening.
Incredible set of events here. We're going to go back and catch it all, starting with the 4 of Cody Neal, getting into the back end of Justin Bissonette after this send. Checks up big time, and Brzezowski, what a slide, locked it down, just tapped the outside wall. Then, in the back here, as Bissonette and Neal fought at turn 3, let's watch this for a second because we missed this. That's completed. Down here in turn 3, watch Eric Smith, Lukakowski inside. Smith is just going to get free, increasingly, overcorrects, bam, outside wall hard.
And that motor just about expired as he was spinning, so that car is very much done for the day. What a heavy hit by Eric Smith.
On board.
He didn't even grab a gear. He was holding it forward, just trying to let it roll, and
That's probably a lot of rear brake bias.
yeah. Too much speed carried into the corner right there as well. Definitely plays in with the brake bias. Now this is going to give open opportunity for a lot of these drivers to bunch back up. You've got Ryan Patty now, who's up towards the front of the field. He was a lap down at one point, having brake problems, Andrew. Now he's up in the top 5, fighting for stage points. He's still got a shot to be able to pull a good finish here. I would love to talk to him, honestly, about to see if he got that brake problem handled.
I really thought this race would be one of the quickest of the season. This stage has changed my outlook. Boy, these guys have really muddied the waters.
We are about, what, halfway through this stage, and it's been about half an hour?
Something like that. This stage is definitely starting to wear on everybody. We do have some takers under this yellow, by the way. Justin Bissonette, one of them. So that's pretty significant, actually, in terms of who just pitted. Bissonette comes in, Gladgelich, Hanover Fist, Timothy Harper, and, of course, Eric Smith in the pit lane. That is a big miss for Justin Bissonette. He's going to be 21st when we go back green flag racing.
Yeah, Timothy Harper's still trying to get some of that damage fixed, too. And Bissonette was doing really well to hang on to that second spot. And then you've got the chaos that unfolded going into turn 1. Brzezowski's still on the racetrack, by the way. He has not taken to the pit lane. I don't think he has really any damage to fix. What a save he had as well.
Let's see if we can find it real quick. This is just after it happened, so we will find that save for car 77. Here we go. On board inside the helmet. He was free on his own. It had nothing to do with that stuff happening ahead. Locks it down. Ooh, nearly got clobbered by Patinko.
He
Wow.
tapped the right rear into the wall just barely. So that was a very interesting save from Brzezowski. From the TV
Watch it here.
cams, going into turn 1.
Free all on his own. He nearly took out the Ford, gets the right rear in the wall. Patinko, hello.
I wonder what Patinko was thinking going through that corner. He was like, I don't want to get hit. I don't want to get hit. He did not get hit, thankfully. On board with Patinko, going down the front stretch. Can't see anything really going on. There you see them going at it into turn 1. There's Brzezowski.
Wow.
Woo! That is what we call it. No ground ball.
Let's watch this again. We're going to watch from the slow-mo here in just a second. Not even going to see the car at first. Hang on. Let's see if I can do some camera work. Never mind. Apparently iRacing doesn't want to... There we go. Cooperate. And where's the 77? You don't see him. You don't see him. There he goes. Wow.
I truly wonder if that was a 4X or anything for either one of those cars, but hey, a miss is a miss. I'll gladly take a 4X over a damaged race car any day. But now we're right back to your regular scheduled program. You've got Brian Smith still leading this race. Vincent Loria has clawed his way back up to second, and Cody Neal is back into the 3rd spot. The rest of the field still falling into place, as you've got Sean Purcell, Ryan Patty, your top 5. Finnegan still on the outside looking in for stage points, but we still got a lot of racing left to go, Andrew.
Looking through some of our onboards. Want to give a shout out to our partners with the channel, Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, and CC's Business. You see Charlie Widener back there from Backroad Bandits. Boy, does he need a good run to start shaping up. Needs those points. He's the top driver without a win this season. Could really use himself a checkered flag. Green flag back in the air here at Gateway. We are racing once again. Now 24 laps to go in stage 2. Sean Purcell now up front with Cody Neal, side by side off the corner.
They are really going at it, going down in turn 3. Cody Neal with the big send to take position over Purcell in the 04. Ryan Patty sitting back there watching, saying, you know what, I want a piece of this too. Let me get up there and start fighting.
Nice fight here off the corner between Campbell and Hersey. There they go back down to turn 1. Brock Hersey, 10th place. Anthony Campbell falls back. Brzezowski's there. Charlie Widener trying to go somewhere. Hersey way up the racetrack. Campbell goes by. That's good for 10th. Brzezowski now looks. Gunther tried to go down. It's covered.
They're fighting real hard right now, trying to hang on for every position they can. Claw and fight back up. Get some stage points. Brock Hersey still fighting on strong. That is great to see after him getting involved in that incident early on. Vincent Loria.
Whoa, here we go for the race lead. And contact into turns 1 and 2. Hello. And Neal pops the fence.
They are both very angry with each other after that incident. And caution. In turn 2.
Rakowski around out of the second corner. Absolute chaos this race.
I don't know, Andrew. You said that Loria was getting close to that probation being up. This could be an interesting story, a very big headline going through the rest of this race.
Let's see what happened down here with the 67. Inside, just pushed up a little. I think Loria was hoping for a little more room, a little more grace. Meanwhile, here's Rakowski on his own. Just gets loose, and overcorrection again.
Try to hang on to it best he could, and I think the overcorrection is what really got him. It's one thing that's very common in these next-gen cars. When you make a right-handed turn to correct, the car gets really very, very light. And a lot of people don't know how to really handle it so far. Not suggesting anybody doesn't, but it's very difficult to get a handle on those cases, especially at tracks like Gateway.
On board with Vincent Loria, this is a tough spot to be in. He pulls the inside, sends it up underneath. Ooh.
That looks like a very, very meet-in-the-middle type deal. You had Vincent Loria, who is not happy with Brian Smith for turning in on him, but you also had Brian Smith who's not happy for Vincent coming up into him. So I think there's just a little bit of interpretation there.
Watch this slow-mo here into the corner. I don't know how much it's really going to show us. Loria
he did come off the seam right there. You can see it going into the corner.
I think they were just racing, honestly. I think that's the best way to put it. That's the way I would see that. These guys are just racing for the lead, and Vincent has to do something to try and get by the 78 car. I don't know that Brian can expect not to have shots taken out of him at some point. I mean, he's been very lucky to lead a lot of these races by a large margin. He's got to expect shots to come eventually.
And we see here, looking from the blimp cam at Nathan Finnegan, he was side by side with Ryan Patty.
And then this happened.
Big wiggle coming off of turn 2, but a good save by the 6 car. Did a really good job to hang on to that car. And Andrew, it has me thinking right now. Vincent Loria, Brian Smith. Do we see a little reminiscent of Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. at Indianapolis? I think that was 2017.
Not so much, because they were straight up teammates. These guys, they've worked together in the past, but they are not straight up teammates. If anything, it's just Vincent, Cody, Joshua, and Anthony DeSeo that are teammates. The other two Smiths are working together for sure. Brian and his uncle Eric, but I think it's racing. You got two fast guys in the racetrack, and eventually they're going to meet in the middle. We talk about how they are locks for the playoffs, more or less. Well, eventually as well. Again, if they're locks for the playoffs, if they're both that good and that up front all the time, they're going to have run-ins eventually.
Absolutely. We want to talk about playoffs moving forward. You've got a lot of drivers who are having decent days right now that could actually help their points total, like Anthony Campbell. He's sitting up in the top 10. I think if I remember correctly, when we saw it pre-race, he was below the cut line coming into this race. So having a good day to put himself above the cut line and really be in a better spot to get some solid points today would be great. Brock Hersey, who's still having a decent day moving forward, he's sitting in the 14th place position, but still, he got involved in an early on wreck, and he's still trucking on, trying to keep that car rolling and get some valuable points today.
Let's bring in the driver of the 73 this evening. On screen now, a newer paint scheme for that Ford Mustang Dark Horse. Anthony, 10th place right now in Stage 2. Do you feel like you can stay there? Do you feel like you can move forward, try to get a couple stage points?
I feel like I can get a couple stage points. I got spun out getting onto pit road earlier. So I had to bounce back from, I think, 24th. But here I am, top 10, and we've got, 17 laps till stage? I think I can get it done.
Definitely still a decent amount of laps here to go in Stage 2, but it's been a bit of a messier stage, especially compared to Stage 1. Is there any advantage? Maybe does it play into you at all with these shorter runs, or do you want to see some more green flag racing?
I would love to see some green flag racing. That way, strategy comes into play. But everybody's being aggressive with as loose as the cars are, so if everybody takes themselves out, I might be talking to you guys later on.
Well, that's the hope, Anthony. Best of luck here.
Thank you.
He's going to restart back at the 10th position. We're going to talk to the driver of the 73 for the first time this season. Up front, no change. Brian Smith, Vincent Loria once again. Cody Neal, Sean Purcell, Ryan Patty, Nathan Finnegan, Evan Patinko, Kyle Purcell waiting on the green flag, and it's out here, Gateway, one more time. Let's see if we can get Stage 2 complete. Cody Neal up the racetrack. He's going to clear himself in front of the 04 car of Sean Purcell. Nathan Finnegan going to make that move as well. He goes by for 4th place.
It doesn't seem like anybody's really able to get Brian Smith on these restarts. That outside line so strong. It's probably going to have to be a pit fight to get this lead away from Brian Smith. He's now stretched it out just over 3 tenths of a second over Gloria. So many fights going on throughout the racetrack right now, though. Going into turn number 1. Brzezowski trying to hang on. One car up into the fence. That was Ryan Patty.
And it was. Maybe still battling that brake issue. We know, he talked about it earlier. After he went a lap down for trying to fix it while he was in the pit lane. He might still be having some big problems. You see a couple of cars up the racetrack. There's the 96 of Patinko up the racetrack as well, bearing the number 81 this evening. Brian Smith, fastest on the racetrack that lap as he leads. The number 67 and the 4. You see Brzezowski clear of the 30, so we'll let them, maybe not. Brzezowski up the racetrack now, falls back to Campbell.
This is some interesting racing going on. You see Patinko now trying to find a way to move forward as well. He's going to slot in line right behind Campbell. And I'm surprised, really, that Kyle Purcell has not moved further forward on those new tires. He is definitely...
Whoa, Anthony Campbell! What a catch from the driver we just talked to.
My goodness.
He was all
really
over the
caught
place.
that car.
He is going to drop down to 13th. Cody Neal, though, goes by Vincent Loria inside the top 3. That is for second place. Loria falling back. Here comes Finnegan on that driver. And we have just taken 14, coming to 13 to go in the stage.
So much
Neal
going
on the
on all
wall.
over the racetrack.
It just keeps getting better and better. The Purcell brothers, by the way, Kyle Purcell taking the advantage and the current final stage point here for stage number 2. You see his work cut out for him. That's the group ahead that he's got to catch. We haven't even talked about weather conditions yet, Zach. Here we go. 72 degrees in the air, 76 on track, and that track temp is going to continue to drop and drop and drop.
We're going to get this race under lights, too.
That we are. The lights are just coming on. And Purcell's starting to close in a little bit.
Just a wee bit. He's making some decent headway so far. Nothing to dent into Brian Smith's lead. He's closed maybe a tenth or two, but nothing that would be of considerable nature, as we see on board here with Anthony Campbell.
He's now falling back to 18th. He's got problems.
Something happened between Harper and Cody Eldred. I'm not sure what's going on, but they seem to be at odds with each other over the radio.
Let's find out, shall we? Right down here in turns 1 and 2. Harper inside, Eldred outside. And whoa, there's Campbell's issue. Wow, what a catch again.
He has been the save of the night multiple times.
On board with him here. And then we'll come back to live picture, working lap 75 currently. Campbell just had a lot of wheel in the car coming off the corner, real free, way down there.
Super smooth with the wheel inputs there to not overcorrect the car. Amazing driving right there.
He's now got Brock Hersey putting him under fire. Charlie Widener back here in the 20th position. He's going to watch this fight. So interesting to me that this guy has been this far back today. Started 16th. This is the lowest he's been. He's been as high as 5th, I think, under a caution period. This driver is the top driver without a win this season. Let's bring up the point standings graphic. Top driver with no win yet. And he is way off tonight.
Absolutely. There's so much that he needs to be able to do right now to make sure he stays locked into these playoffs. And
he's got the biggest cushion, really. We're just looking for him to get that win finally.
That we are. Now on board here with Evan Patinko, who's right on the back bumper of Bissonette, going into the corner. See that outside line and how much it picks up, but definitely lost a little bit of ground right there.
Take a look at the ticker on the left side of your screen. We have the position gained graphic up. Well, the telemetry anyway is the data. So this is the positions that these drivers have gained or changed throughout the course of this race since the start, since the initial drop of the green. So Brzezowski is up 13 spots, Zach, from 19th to 6th. Sean Purcell up a respectable 10 positions. Kevin Gunther is down 3. Timothy Harper, the big loser right now, he is down 13 positions into 16th.
Unfortunate set of circumstances for Timothy Harper. I think he's finally got a lot of that damage fixed. that he's going to be able to continue to march forward. So hopefully his race starts track a little bit better moving forward. As I made a comment about it earlier, Brzezowski has been on a roll today, didn't set a qualifying time, and now he's working himself towards the top 5. Kyle Purcell is going to be the one on new tires, though. He's trying to get up there and get some spots away as we continue to look at all these battles right here on the racetrack. That was really close coming off turn number 4 between Tuck and Delph. That was really close. Brad Delph falls back in line.
Steven Tuck defending in the 10 now. Joshua Clemens to the inside of Brad Delph. This is for 14th position. Meanwhile, Hanover Fist and Luke Rakowski are side by side. So just going through the field right now, trying to get an idea of who's racing who as we get closer and closer to the end of stage number 2. And it looks like from here we are going to run the stage out at this point as Clemens and Delph fight through 1 and 2. But Brian Smith down the backstretch, Zach, he's going to take 4 to go in stage 2, this time by the flag stand.
You want to talk about dominating. He's led all but 2 laps tonight. 2.
Solid race from him. And actually, that's going to update. He's led all but 1.
Laps led.
He's led all but 1. We've completed 80 laps. He's led 79 of them.
Who's the other driver that led 1 lap?
I'm glad you asked. We have a bit of telemetry for it. It's going to be Jacob Gladulich. Remember that pit stop?
Oh, yeah, that's right. He went through his box and led a lap under caution. So in reality, Brian Smith has led every single green flag lap tonight, including laps under caution.
Incredible.
Dominating right now. Cody Neal still following in the foot track. Closing in a little bit. He's about 4 seconds back. Victoria has lost a lot of ground over the course of the run. He's now 1.1 seconds back. You can see all those cars rolling by the speed shot. The next closest car is Finnegan. He's moved himself inside the top 5. Kyle Purcell directly behind. And I say directly. He's quite a considerable margin back. He's 2 seconds behind Finnegan. Brzezowski next. Purcell, Bissonette, Patinko, and Gunther. Your top 10. But as you say, Andrew, only the top 5 get paid out stage points tonight.
That's why we just took a look at Kyle Purcell and his gap back to Nathan Brzezowski. Not much changing there, although there is a fight within this top 10. Still Patinko and Bissonette, this for 8th. And they are not the only fight on the racetrack. How about Steven Tuck, Joshua Clemens, Brad Delph, Timothy Harper, all in a line. We've also got Anthony Campbell and Brock Hersey, and further back, Jacob Gladulich and Charlie Widener, now down to 21st spot, so the lowest that he's been so far this evening.
I'm very much hoping that Timothy Harper has gotten a lot of that damage fixed, and he is now in a lot better of a position to move forward and not backwards anymore. So,
well, white flag. White flag in stage 2. Brian Smith down the backstretch. I just don't think anybody's got anything for him, Zach. He has been absolutely on top of it, race after race. I think we're watching a 6th win already in the making for this guy. It might change, it might not, but what isn't changing is the stage winner this evening. Brian Smith wins another one. Caution flag is out. Stage winner, R78.
Well, he did say he was looking forward to talking to us again.
Well, joke's on him. Since he's won now a 2nd stage in a row, we will drop back and grab Cody Neal, who goes 2nd to the stage.
That means he's just going to have to go out and win the race if he wants to be back up here in the booth.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. Solid day so far for the 78 car. Can't argue that. Has led every single lap aside from one caution lap where Jacob Gladulich stayed out. And we are now inside of 60 laps to go in this race.
Now, if you want to get this lead away from the 78 car, I would be right up on that bumper. Pits should open right here. So that's going to leave a lot of open opportunity for these drivers to make some headway. Looks like pits will remain. Nope, they are open. Here come the drivers heading down pit lane. I expect everyone to come down to the pit road.
Frankly, Zach, you're going to have to tick him off to beat him. You're likely going to have to hit the 78 car, move him out of the way in order to beat him.
Lights are still closed. It's very weird. I'm not sure if these drivers are going to get black flags here. That's the red light.
No, I think that's a visual error. They wouldn't all be coming in like this if it was closed. Here we go. Pit stops. You see Ryan Patty duck into his box. There goes Brzezowski. There goes Sean Purcell. Here goes Cody Neal. And everybody else finding their box, their place to pit. And Loria, is that a smooth pit? No! Oh my gosh, he's missed it twice. Misses it a third time. Twice he was long, not
Said
thrice.
He was too far back.
Yep.
Too far back in the pit box. Cody Neal, though, he's having a really quick stop. He's out of the box. He's off and away. Can he get Brian Smith? No. Just almost got him. So close. And something happened to Vince Loria. I'm not sure.
Remember, he was shallow in the box.
I think, hold on a second. No, he did not get a penalty. He was making, oh, he might have actually gotten a penalty.
I think he got a penalty. Had to have.
Not seeing a black flag, though. Might be a speeding penalty for the 67. I am seeing a black flag, though, for Stephen Tuck. Not sure what that's for, though.
Well, let's grab Cody Neal, who goes second place in stage 2. And we'll bring in Vincent Loria's teammate here, Cody Neal. Second place in stage 2, Cody. That's a solid day going for you so far. Although you're all chasing that 78 once again. I've theorized that it's likely going to take ticking him off to beat him. Maybe a little bit of contact. I'm not saying you're up for it, but do you agree that it's going to take some kind of contact to win this race?
I think the strategy is going to come here. As long as this stays green, the strategy is in this next pit stop. So as long as we're not on the same strategy, we weren't last week, surprisingly. But I won't move him. This has always raced me clean, so.
So if this race goes green, you feel like it comes down to strategy, that's fair. If this race doesn't go green, if we get the same kind of situation we just had in stage 2, where everybody's pretty much good on fuel, what can you do as the driver to beat that 78 car?
Throw a slider, or push him, but you gotta be right there on him to make a move, and dirty air is very prevalent here, so I don't know, we'll see what happens, I guess.
We saw some decent speed out of you and your crew from KU Motorsports back at COTA. Can we expect the same at Sonoma in a week's time?
Oh yeah, we should be really good there. It's right, so hopefully we can perform just as well as COTA.
Well, best of luck here. Good to finally talk to you again. It's been a while, and second place here in the stage, a good reason to talk to you as well. Best of luck here as the race goes on.
Thanks, guys.
So into stage 3 we go, and Cody Neal will restart second spot just like he ended the stage, Zach. You see them all lining up, doubling up behind. Vincent Loria has dropped back. The 67 is now in 23rd.
And I did actually figure out what the black flag was for Stephen Tuck. It was a passing under yellow. He didn't seem very sure how it happened. Apparently, and this is something on iRacing, the scoring ticks are so minuscule sometimes that it's very easy to miss. Turns out the 72 of Delph was in front of him barely at the last scoring tick before the caution came out, so he passed Delph under the yellow flag and then pitted, which ended up giving him a passing under yellow black flag.
Well, here we go. While that happens for Stephen Tuck and Vincent Loria, the rest of the field ready to race it out at Gateway. Inside of 60 laps to go. In fact, when we restart, we've got 55 to go. Green flag back in the air at Gateway. Up off of turn number 2, Brian Smith, Cody Neal, Nathan Finnegan, Kyle Purcell, Nathan Brzezowski in 5th for the time being. Listen to him get up to speed. Brzezowski working on the 04 of Sean Purcell. This for 5th.
Still side by side coming off. No time now. He's only got a little over 50 laps to go. As Brzezowski falls in line, looking for himself up the racetrack. Big wiggle where Brzezowski's going to keep his foot in it, get the spot. and that's what Sean.
Oh,
spinning
Bissonette,
back.
the 06. No
He's
caution.
getting back.
And he is backwards. No
What
caution.
happened there?
Lap 91, the 06 goes around, and he's going to go all the way to the back end of the field. 24th spot as Steven Tuck serves a penalty and parks it. Whoa, spinning Ryan Patty on the front stretch. And he gets
the
hit.
wall.
He gets hit
Oh.
again.
That's another big hit. Rakowski involved in another incident here tonight, and look at that 30. He is broken. That left rear. He can't move. He can't move at all.
Oh, he's junk. Realizes it, will tow. His race is done. And we will first get a look at what happened to the 06 car off the restart. There he is. Black and orange Chevrolet. On the inside of the white and orange, number 31 of Kevin Gunther. Let's see what happens here off of turn number 2. Up the racetrack, a little free, a little free. It's the next lap, Andrew. Come on now. So the next time around, we'll see what happens to Justin Bissonette. We'll fast forward a little bit, save you the time. Out of the corner here, up the racetrack, had some wheel in it. Free, spins it right around, baby, right around. Meanwhile, Ryan
Nice.
Patty.
Who actually just came over the radio and said he was still having brake problems. That's what contributed to this caution.
Well, it was on corner exit.
I don't think he could get it wound up, though, is what he meant to say. Because look at how long it took to get it locked down.
Oh, Widener just got by.
Pulling back across the racetrack might have been a little bit to his detriment there. However, I think the merit was there to get off the racing line, get out of the way of any of the other drivers.
He got woed down fine. He gets free here off the corner. That's what spins him out. I think he could have had it saved with the brakes. Maybe that's what he's referencing here. Hits the wall. Widener just gets by. And the broadside part, I think, is what he's saying is a result of the brake issues. Because he was not going to be broadside like that until the very end of the crash. We'll get another look at this. He's got room back to Patinko. No contact, very close. And Zach, I think it's the end of this here where he's saying the brakes are to blame. He gets it locked up. The brakes are working fine there as he hits the outside wall. Widener is just going to come by.
And then it starts getting back rolling here. So
I think he maybe couldn't hold the brakes completely well. He locks up again. Yeah, I wonder if he wasn't getting full pressure and if that's why the car moved a bit more and, well, see what happens.
unfortunate stuff for Ryan Patty here tonight. And he was doing good. He was finally able to get back up into a good spot, and that's just so unfortunate for him. And I took the liberty of taking the moment that we have under caution to take a look back at Vincent Loria's little trip down pit road. So, they nabbed him for speeding on exit. You want to know how fast he was going, Andrew?
Let's see. What is pit speed here? 45?
45 miles an hour. You know how
I'm
fast
going
he
to
was
say
going off exit?
45.1 miles per hour.
49 at the line. 49 miles per hour. Now, I can understand where Vincent's mindset was. He's got, what, the number 1, the number 2 pit box? So he's got the ability to just haul it straight out of pit road. And sometimes the driver's mindset is, I can get that short distance covered before I hit the speed limit of pit road. So it really tends to kind of sit in with you thinking, I can get it, I can get there. Sometimes you go a little bit over and it nabs you.
Well. Honestly, Zach, I got nothing for this one. All of my ideas of how this race is going to go have been completely thrown out the window. We've now got Ryan Patty sitting in the pit lane after a handful of issues.
Vincent Loria is actually just coming back to the pit lane as well.
Gonna top off. May as well, if you're at the back of the field, top off, get fuel. You're still not quite good to the end. This is on the edge, though. This is going to be 48 laps, and that's what we put the edge of the fuel window at. So as you see the U.S. Air Force, CC's Business, Pit Stop TV, Whiplash SimCams, Ford Mustang, Dark Horse, head down to the last pit box here on pit lane. Keep in mind, this is right on the edge of what we say is within the pit window, so he tops off 42 to 48 laps. Now, Nathan Finnegan told me before the race 45. And with that, Zach, I give a 3-lap variance if you're able to save. This is right on the edge.
That's very, very close. I would be amiss if Vincent couldn't make it to the end. However, if he's anticipating to make it to the end, I would recommend tires. And it seemed like he only took fuel in that stop.
He must have taken tires recently, but these guys are saying there isn't a ton of fall off.
This is going to be a complicated strategy to look at, because I can see where the merit is to take the fuel now.
Gotta try it.
We'll see. Green flag back out, Andrew.
48 laps to go at Gateway. Green flag back in the air. They're moving around, trying to find something here. Evan Patinko slow on the restart. 3 wide into turn 3. Harper way down there.
Brad Delph, such a struggle to get going into the corner. Now everyone's starting to fall back in line, a little bit of 3 wide behind. You've got Finnegan now trying to go for third. Everyone's just trying to see where they can fall in. But it seems like the top 10 have all gotten squared away, other than the fights up here at the front.
And that was, of course, turn 1, not turn 3.
God.
47 to go.
Oh! In the back!
Brad Delph, Joshua Clemens, and Anthony Campbell gets a piece.
Delph was doing so good. He was up in the top 10 on the restart.
Oh, I just realized what Brad Delph's paint scheme is. I gotta shout this out here in a second. This is for the new M&M release.
Oh.
Houdini. Big M&M fan here.
Oh,
the 72 hit by the 73, the 44 involved. Wow.
Just came right back down the racetrack. Campbell's been having issues all night with trying to keep that car on the racetrack. Keep all 4 wheels underneath him.
He just came down the track. Straight down the... Wow. Right down to the inside wall. We'll get another look here. And slow it down some. So this is out of the corner. Campbell comes down the racetrack. I'm not sure if he was trying to give more room to the outside wall, if he was free, trying to correct it, what was going on. But then Clemens nowhere to go. And the M&M Houdini 72 goes skipping across the pavement.
Was that supposed to be a reference of some sort?
No, that's the song name, Houdini. That's his new single.
No, I'm reading the situation differently there.
Well, he was skipping like a rock across the racetrack, if that's what you're getting at.
No, I thought when you said skipping, the tone of your voice kind of made it sound like it was a reference to something Eminem related, so I just kind of figured that's what you were trying to do, because we've got pit stops underway. The top 2, look at that, Andrew, they've stayed out on the racetrack. Vincent Loria stays out as well, gets some track position. Now we're starting to see how the strategies really differ amongst the top 5 and the top 10, really.
Loria's back in this race. Remember, he's good on fuel. Here comes Harper into his box. Neil up on the jacks first. Bissonette comes on in. Oh, was that 2 and down and away? That was 2, I think, for Purcell.
Brian Smith called it out earlier. He said that 2 tires could be the call. Look at that. 2 tires out and away for
Rokowski, Nyman. Wow. And this is right on the money for making it to the end. Let's go back here. Watch the 01. He's going to go up on the jacks, does he? No, that was fuel only for the 01.
That's interesting.
So my question is...
He took tires early on. He may feel that he's in a position where things should be a lot more beneficial for him on what he has.
That was not Rokowski, by the way. That was Eldred, who was out quick, along with Nyman. Do they go up on the jacks at all? Nyman in for fuel, Eldred for fuel. No tires. Fuel only for those 2 cars, and they will restart towards the front. Brad Delph will now come in and pit. Brian Smith, Nathan Finnegan, your front row now for this upcoming restart. Vincent Loria has pitted most recently of the top 3. Kyle Purcell most recently of the top 4.
Well, so many shakeups right now. And I will say, after our most latest caution, that has pretty much derailed Anthony Campbell's night. He had a pit for repair flag, or as the iRacers call it, the meatball flag. He has since gotten that cleared, so he has gotten most of his damage fixed, but he will probably be at a hindrance the rest of the night, as we've got just over 40 laps to go, Andrew. So we're sitting just about within the fuel window now, meaning any of these guys could pit here and make it to the end.
Let's grab Cody Eldred, who comes in for fuel only, gets back on the racetrack. Now enough fuel to go to the end of the race here, Cody. How do those tires feel? How much drop-off have you felt?
None.
Fair enough. That's a quick way to look at it for sure. So you stay out, or not stay out, you get fuel only, you move up front of the field here. You've got Daniel Nyman doing the same thing with you. What do you need to do on this restart in specific to capitalize on this newfound track position?
I need people behind me to actually brake, and so I can survive this, because that's all I'm here for.
Fair enough. We saw a moment with you, and I think it was Timmy Harper early in the race. Anything with that now?
I'd have to look at the replay, but I thought I was in as high as I could go, and he was a little, like, I saw his tire still, and he just bombed it in there. That's all that was.
Well, he's restarting behind you. I mean, is there any kind of added safety to your approach here for this restart, or is it just go out there and do the same thing you've been doing?
Survive. That's it. Just survive this one. Hopefully it works out. Got to save some fuel to make it to the end, but we might see another caution here that'll help us.
Well, and tell us a bit about Old School Coins on the hood of the car.
Old School Coins is a business that buys and sells coins. They go by silver bullion too. They're pretty competitive. It's a good company to go check out.
There you go, Cody Eldred, a sponsor, has been on that car for a while now. Best of luck here on the restart.
Thank you.
Good to talk to him for one of the first times all season. Into the restart zone will go Brian Smith, race leader, Nathan Finnegan. There we go, green flag in the air, a big restart for the top 4. The 51 was caught sleeping.
Dropping way back here. See them all fighting it out. Brzezowski in the middle, right back there of a 3-wide battle. Back to 2 wide now. One car in the wall. That's Brock Hersey.
And down to turn 3. Finnegan under fire. He's sliding, drifting into turn 3. Just hangs on to it. And there goes the 67 of Loria. Caution, it's Patinko. Whoa, they're still crashing.
This and that.
Patinko and Bissonette both involved here, and this only furthers all of these guys being good on fuel at this point. Except for the top 2, and we think they'll still be good. How many caution flags we've now had. Here's Patinko into turn 3. Just gets free. Same thing we've seen just about all night long. Oh, Bissonette, not even involved at first. He just kind of came into it.
Synchronized spinning.
Let's go back and watch this for the 06 car. He's just a little ways back of the 96. Racing here with Brzezowski and Widener on board. And oh, he hit the rumble strip at least. He was on the curbing. He checked up for Patinko sliding, and that's why he goes for his spin. Well, Zach, it has been one of those nights.
Is it a... I feel like it's full moon tonight. With how many drivers have had so many problems here. Everyone just seems fast, but the second you catch up to Brian Smith, it's like hitting a brick wall.
If you can even catch up to him. I mean, we've seen a lot of these guys do something to try and get close, and rarely has there been a car in his back bumper since the drop of the green. I mean, Vincent Loria started from pole and has not led a lap yet today because he was passed up on the initial lap. How often do you see that when you start first and don't lead a single lap?
You don't usually see it very often. There's a lot of drivers on here that have very good qualifying pace, and then when it comes to race pace, it's very hard for them to keep up with the rest of the field. I myself am the opposite. I have terrible qualifying pace, but when it comes to the race, I can really bring it back up. And, you know, that's not to say, Vincent Loria has been one of the biggest contenders all season, so he's definitely got the race pace, but with under 40 laps to go, you've got a lot to take in, and hopefully get yourself back up there where you can contend with Brian Smith. Speaking of contenders, rolling through the rest of the caution, Joshua Clemens has received a black flag. I'm not sure what it's for, though. Currently checking on that.
He was trying to serve a penalty prior and was on the pit lane when that caution came out. Couldn't serve it, just like Thomas Taylor earlier. Very similar situation, but he's in for repairs again. It's very possible that he sped trying to keep himself on the lead lap or something, or a lap down or what have you, trying to beat the pace car, and accepted that speeding penalty and has not yet been able to serve it.
Unfortunate for Clemens. However, these drivers should be going back green here pretty soon. Brian Smith still leads, but I think the one thing leading into the next week is the Misfit Touring Series. We're going over to New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and I believe the late model stock cars, Andrew, that's going to be one heck of a show coming up, and lots more coming this week, too.
Yeah, this is a big week for us. May wasn't the biggest month in general. As you can see, St. Louis, however you want to call it, lit up in the background there of the camera, but...
Oh, they have Arch. I did not know that was in the iRacing service.
Yes, the Arch is back there. The whole city is back there. It's a really cool look, but this is definitely going to be a big week for us, a big way to get the month of June started. May was pretty light. We had a couple of broadcasts happen there at the back end of the month, but May was pretty light in general. So for us to get this Misfit Touring Series event tomorrow night, the XCal Web Shop Series on Tuesday, and then the Majors 24, a month ago, none of these three broadcasts were even on the radar. It would have been completely off from this evening's race here at Gateway to next week's race at Sonoma, which we can talk more about that upcoming race at Sonoma next week. Sonoma, 66 laps on the road course out in Napa, California. Then we head out to the short track of Iowa on Father's Day. The broadcast will not be there. Then it's New Hampshire, Nashville, Chicago, Pocono, Indianapolis, Atlanta, California, Richmond, Michigan. We should have just about the rest of the summer stretch. Sans maybe one, maybe two races of that stretch to finish out the regular season. So it's going to be a fun, busy summer for us at Pit Stop TV, the way we like it. Ryan Smith, though, back into the restart zone, inside of 40 laps to go. The sky is getting purple. The lights are on. Green flag is back in the air at Gateway. Cody Eldred still top five as they work up off the corner. Timmy Harper, though, taking a look at that 32 car. Everybody getting in a line down the backstretch. Big move there. Hoppy looking to the inside of Brzezowski. A couple of part-timers. And Hoppy, hang on. Hoppy, yes, he is a lead lap spinner. It's Eldred. And Anthony Campbell.
Big impacts for a lot of these guys.
Another crash for the 73 car. Big problem here for the 32. We just spoke with him. This is down into turn 3, racing with the 12 car. Just free on his own. Overcorrection. And here comes Campbell. Wow. Got him in the door somehow. Or something else happening.
Well, that has given Cody Ellerid the pit for repair flag, so that's going to be some damage he's going to have to get fixed before continuing tonight. Oh, he got hooked. Anthony Campbell.
No, he was already sliding. He I don't know if Anthony reacted to the crash ahead or what was going on here. We'll see another look at it. Got on the brakes hard, was sliding, and
the hook did not help, though.
Gets carried into the 32 car. Ryan Patty back on track. You see him in the background. This has been a bloodbath in stages 2 and 3. And the leaders staying out. Again, they've had enough caution laps at this point. They're good to the end. The question really is whether or not these newer tires on some of these cars are going to help. You've got 2 tires on Harper, 4 on Neal, 4 on Purcell, 4 on Lockett, none on Nyman's car, and Kyle Purcell has no tires. Finnegan and Smith pitted the longest ago. Vincent Loria, I believe, took 4 tires with them and then came back in for fuel.
Talk about how crazy tonight has been. We have 3 cars that are within 5 laps down at the moment. You have Cody Eldred, who's just taking to the pit lane. You've got Joshua Clemens, who's 2 laps down. Now you've got Thomas Taylor, who's 4 laps down. You would think Cody Eldred would get the wave around, would get the free pass around the pace car. No, he got involved in the wreck. Okay, so you would think Joshua Clemens would get the wave around and get to go by the pace car. No, he has not been able to serve his black flag yet. So 5 laps down, now 4. Thomas Taylor just got the wave around and took the lucky dog around the pace car.
It's been a rough night.
Rough night indeed.
Look at the race info here, 11 cautions for 46 laps. They're starting to stack up. It was a clean, completely clean stage 1, and they fooled us a little bit. It has since been really, really tough. I think the track, Brian talked about it gripping up. I don't see any grip out there. I mean, these guys are twitchy loose every single corner. And I say twitchy loose, it's really turn 3 because these guys go barreling in there off the restart. I think they forget just how free it can be. They've got all this rear brake to try and get the car to turn because it's a relatively flat racetrack, especially 3 and 4 are flat. And they just bury it off in the corner, pump the brakes, and the car comes around on them. And
Sir, that says 4 lead changes. Where were the other 2? There were 2 early that we both know, which was Gladulich taking the lead and leading the lap, and then Brian Smith getting it back the next lap later. So that's 2 lead changes. Are they counting Brian Smith taking the lead and leading the first lap? That would be 3.
That would have to be.
Where's number 4?
Oh. Well, regardless.
Mysteries of the race.
Maybe that should be a new segment with Zach Murtis. Mysteries of the race. Well, he's led... okay, so there must have been another caution where somebody else... I guess it must have been the other stage caution where somebody else led a lap because he, in fact, has not led every lap of this race. So I guess they aren't counting the start because he has now led 109 of 111. So another caution where wherever he pitted the second time, which would have been the stage, I guess somebody stayed out and collected the race lead for a moment. I forget who.
Was it Vincent Loria? He stayed out under one of these most recent cautions.
No, he stayed out after these guys had pitted, and that was after he took his penalty, if you recall. Because he took his penalty under the stage yellow. But he's back up to second. You've just got to play these cautions, these pit stops right, and you can get back in the race. Look at Timothy Harper even.
Yeah, Timothy Harper, he's back up into the 5th spot. He's right next to Cody Neal. Pace car's off. We're going to have 32 laps to go when we go back green.
With lane choice and choice in the box, there's no beating Brian Smith on a restart. Waiting on his restart this time, the Ico restart zone. Green flag is back out. Just over, in fact, 32 laps to go total. 32. On board of Nyman watching forward, there's some tumultuous activity in the back. A couple of cars slow. One car way in the grass. It's Anthony Campbell.
I think he's still got some damage on that car that he doesn't have fixed yet, but hopefully he's able to get it handled. Finnegan up the racetrack just a little bit, trying to defend against Kyle Purcell. He's going to hang on. Timothy Harper gets very wiggly as he goes through turn number 4. Can't get it done. Going to fall in line.
So Harper falls back into 5th. Brzezowski racing with Nyman gets clear of the 51 car. Brad Delph. Remember, he was involved in a crash recently, got turned around by the 73. He is in 15th, looking up at Bissonette. Cody Neal, Sean Purcell, they're going to fight to turn 3. Neal going to make the pass.
So much going on all over the place as we're going to hit 40 laps to go at the start-finish line.
30 to go.
30 to go, excuse me. Oh my goodness.
Cody Eldred has reported to the YouTube chat. That was a big move from Brzezowski to turn 1. Hello. Oh, maybe not. Sean Purcell leaning on him. Loses the spot officially. Will fall back behind the 77 now. And here comes Zach Lockett in the 93. But Cody Eldred reporting to the YouTube chat saying that we jinxed him. We talked to him and then immediately crashed.
Well, sorry, Cody.
Smith, Loria, Finnegan, Purcell, Harper, Neal, your top 6. Whole lot of Fords up front.
Lots of racing left to go still. So much that can happen on this racetrack, and I'm personally hoping that we can run this race green to the end.
Downshift there from Cody Neal. He goes by the 12 car, picks up 5th. Kyle Purcell now losing touch with the 6 of Finnegan, and Loria is up on the back end of Brian Smith. This is the closest he's been for the race lead since what he attempted on the inside of 1 and 2 earlier in stage 2. Since that moment, this is the closest he's been.
He's got to make something happen. Yeah, that's all it's going to take. Brian Smith has been absolutely picture perfect tonight. And Loria needs to find a way to get around him now more than ever. As if this race runs green to the end, I still think Brian Smith has a pit stop to make.
Don't think so. They've had enough caution laps. Whoa! Loria nearly gets into him. Did he get into him? He slides through the corner, falls back now. Here comes Nathan Finnegan. He gets the wall, does the 67 of Loria. And Finnegan's going to go by.
There's a commotion going on in turn 2. Delph got very loose going into the corner. Nyman made contact with him. There was a lot going on. We almost had another caution on our hands.
But let's focus on these leaders. Let's go back and get a replay of what just happened at a turn 1. And this will be from the perspective of the 67. We've been watching them. In fact, we'll go inside the helmet here with Loria. Does he just get deep?
Grabs 5th gear. Brakes.
Oh, he got him. He got him. He got him.
Caution on the speedway.
It's Brzezowski. It's Brzezowski and Harper.
Gunther's got the nose coming off that car. He has got a left front disconnected. Look at the toe on that one. Oh my goodness.
Harper gets away okay. Looks like he might have done a spin. Go back and get a look, of course.
Tempers flaring on the racetrack, ladies and gentlemen.
Brzezowski here. Dives into turn 1. Harper on the outside. Brzezowski slides up. And Harper right hooks.
I don't know if that was intentional or not. Harper through the grass. Hangs onto that car, but there's the rest of the drivers that come into play. You see Brzezowski getting turned right back around. Someone had to have hit him.
Well, that must be Gunther.
Yeah, he's got a left front disconnected.
And it was.
Nose coming off that car.
Here's the moment between these two. Brzezowski just gets up the racetrack, and Harper is going to come back with the right hook.
Oh my God.
By the way, we'll see it in a second live. Pit stop for Brian Smith. This is going to change the race. There's Gunther getting the 77. Let's come back live now to pit stops. The 78 car. I never thought this was going to happen. He must be coming in for tires. Wow.
I told you, Andrew. I told you it was going to happen. You see Sean Purcell right back there.
He definitely had the fuel. He had to have, right?
Do we see 2 tires? That's 4 right there for Brian Smith. He is really expecting to put this car back up to the front. 4 and away for Brian Smith. Sean Purcell right behind. Excuse me. No, that was Sean Purcell. Right behind Vincent Loria, though. Stays out on the racetrack. Nathan Finnegan 2nd, Cody Neal 3rd, Timothy Harper 4th.
I don't think he's going to stay 4th.
Waiting to see who is going to get the EOL penalty for the result of that caution.
Well, he's going to pit here, and he's going to be careful not to pass these guys, because if he passes them and does not give the spot back before the pit commit line, or the pit entry line, he will get a penalty, and now he checks up, realizes that.
It's a pulling up to pit.
Apparently Brian Smith Apparently Brian Smith wasn't going to make it. I really thought he was good on fuel. There were so many cautions. I'm blown away. I don't know if he was trying to save or not. We didn't check in with him enough, I guess. I don't know how. This whole stage has been cautions.
Well, he didn't lose all too much, really.
Gonna restart
right now, he's listed
6th.
as the P6 position. Patinko right in front of him.
That's because we had Rakowski, Campbell, and Brzezowski pit this time. I don't think they had pitted the previous lap aside from Brzezowski.
Quick question. Patinko was the one that had the updated paint scheme, right? With the different number, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So, weird thing going on with trading paints. I still have him logged as his usual 96. That threw me off for a moment because I was rolling through the field to see how everyone was stacking up, and I rolled up on Patinko and I said, okay, this is going to be the 98.
Well, we're going to restart here with Loria on the inside, Finnegan on the outside. Cody Neal inside in 3rd place. Charlie Widener 4th, and Evan Patinko. And Brian Smith will pull up in the 6th position. Then the Purcell brothers, the twins, in row number 4. And this is their home race. Chicago will be even more home for them, I believe, but this is their home race. And
Timothy Harper, he did end up getting the EOL penalty for that caution. Not sure if he claimed it or not, if somebody went back and looked, and looks like we just got delayed on the green.
I wonder if they're going back to review the caution. I'm surprised the 20 or the 12 car is still rolling, to be honest with you.
Cody Elred just gave himself an EOL penalty. I'm not sure why, though.
He's back here with Lemons. There must be some kind of scoring mishap and just a jam up of cars waiting on somebody. Looks like maybe Ryan Patty that they're waiting on.
Surprised to see Ryan Patty back out on the racetrack, actually. He is currently sitting 10 laps down.
And there's Harper going all the way to the rear. I said it already, I'll say it again. I'm shocked he's still rolling on this racetrack right now. I will say I think that was an intentional crash, and, you know, he's got his motives. Intentional crashing, never okay in my book, and I think that'll be a penalty this week.
Well, aside from Timothy Harper giving us a good old right hook off of turn number 2, the shakeup still stands at the moment. Loria has picked the outside line, as Brian Smith has been picking all night. Nathan Finnegan, Cody Neal, Charlie Widener, Evan Patinko, and then Brian Smith. So he's going to be restarting in the same line as the leader. Everybody wants to start in the same line as the leader, so they get that good jump on the restart. However, everyone's been stacking lately. This could be a costly restart if Brian Smith can't make the moves quickly.
We know Loria's going to get a good restart if the 95 of Widener gets a good start with him. I think Smith will have the 96 cleared into turn 1, which really means that the 4 car of Cody Neal, the 6 car of Nathan Finnegan, and the 2 lined up in front of the 78 are the only competition between the 78 and the front of the field. 20, 30 lap old tires ahead of that 78 car. All he's got to do is get by about 4 cars so long as this restart goes as we expect. So down to the Ico restart zone again we go. 20 laps to go at Gateway.
Widener did not get going. Cody Neal to the top. He's going to try to see if he can make a move on second place. Nathan Finnegan. Not going to be enough. Here comes Brian Smith.
Smith off the top side, grabs the outside wall, as does Kyle Purcell. It is a hornet's nest behind about the 5th position. Patinko on the back end of the 95 of Widener to turn 3. Brian Smith has 3 cars to roll by if he wants to get this win back away with 20 laps to go. Not only that, if he can get there, he'd protect himself from any future competition because he's got brand new Goodyear tires. 1 car slow, it's Hoppy. No caution.
I think the big thing that you're you're asking for if you're Vincent Loria is all these quick cautions to help keep the field tightly knit together so you can hang on to the lead. The laps will click off without any threat of being passed. And now, we see, I don't know if this is going to work out for Brian Smith, actually, because Cody Neal actually pulled away from him off of turn number 4 that last time by.
It's going to take a couple of laps to get those tires up to temp. But if you give the 78 some time, I think you'll get there. At the same time, Zach, we've seen how impossible it's been for some of these guys to pass as there's a slow car. It's the 93 of Lockett. Slow on the front stretch, and he gets it back going. He's got a lot of left side damage. This could prompt a yellow as the field tries to pass. I think you're right.
Yeah, he might have clobbered the inside wall, because that's the only reason that you could get left side damage on that car. He's trying to get to pit road. He's calling it out over the mic. And there he goes, taking it down to pit lane.
Oh, it's barely going to get there. Oh, spinning! It's Finnegan, Neal, and Smith across the line! Wow! Everything has changed. Vincent Loria was ahead of it all. Brian Smith has no nose. Cody Neal has no nose. Nathan Finnegan is junk. Well, maybe not complete junk. The car looks okay. And Finnegan simply got free. Watch it here off of turn 4. Up the racetrack. Comes back down. Got a lot of wheel in it. Free, free, free. Sliding, sliding. Cody Neal chose wrong. And Brian Smith is in it.
A perfect night for Brian Smith has now gone into the drain. What an unfortunate set of circumstances.
And he's headed to the pit lane.
Cody Neal has stayed out on the racetrack, though. He is still holding second with no front bumper on that car.
I don't think that'll be for long.
This is going to help out a lot of drivers that really need to have a solid points day. You've got drivers who are already locked into the playoffs now with major damage on their cars. This is going to reel everyone in. You've got Charlie Widener, he's still inside the top 10. Sean Purcell. Brad Delph. Brad Delph is moving up into the top 10. Jacob Gladulich is finally back up inside the top 10 for the first time today. Everything's shaking up and turning on its head. I'm going to ask again, is it a full moon outside tonight? Because it has to be.
I don't know, but we are going to talk to driver number 6 and see if maybe we can get an idea of what happened there. I know Nathan, probably not the happiest man to hear my voice currently, but Nathan, what happened there off of turn 4? Zach, I think that says enough.
Back end stepped out, and sorry guys. Okay. Yeah, it was a pretty lack of talent. I hardly got any practice this week here, and it showed when crunch time mattered. Unfortunate day for the 6. I feel bad for everybody else who got caught up in that wreck. A lot of fast cars got damaged there. So. But yeah, on to Sonoma.
Well, how's the car feel? There's still plenty of time with how the cautions have been coming out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do damage, which is good. Which is really good. Right now, only 49 seconds of optional. I actually, in hindsight, kind of wish I stayed out. It's probably not that bad.
Well, best of luck here. I hate to see that things went this way.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
A lap lead for Finnegan. He must have been that driver that got that lap lead earlier on. Zach, things have changed.
Things are changing all over the place. Vincent Loria, your leader. Cody Neal, second, with no front nose, might I add, with under 15 laps to go. Justin Bissonette in third. Evan Patinko is fourth. Kyle Purcell is fifth. Charlie Widener, Sean Purcell, Brad Delph, Jacob Gladulich, and Brock Hersey, your top 10. And I can tell you 3 of those drivers that are sitting below the cut line on the outside looking in for the playoffs tonight. Brad Delph, he's 11 points out. You've got Brock Hersey, who I think was 36 points out. And Timothy Harper having a bad day too, so that's going to help them a lot with their points totals. Brad Delph is ahead of Timothy Harper, so he's going to close a little bit tonight.
Let's bring up the Icon Cup Series point standings coming into this race. And you just gave us a pretty solid recap. I think big gainers here today. Patinko is going to be included. He's not even in the top 24. He needs it.
And Gunther's out of the race. Gunther was 11 points above coming in. Brad Delph should move himself in.
That'll be a big change. Brock Hersey is going to grab some points for sure and get closer.
Sayo's out.
He's going to drop. Cameron Thompson's not here. You're right. Luke Krokowski, bad day for him. Michael Jennings not here this evening. Cody Eldred's going to drop closer. Zach Lockett is back. He's looking to try and get some more points, but he's coming to this restart. Let's see. 17th. Well, he might open up a little bit of space, but not much.
Cody Neal might lose a lot to the cut line tonight.
We'll see what happens on this restart.
Fare well.
Adam Ball isn't here. Let's find out. Pace Truck is back to pit lane. This is going to be a restart for sure. 13 laps to go when they get to the stripe. Green flag is back out. Cody Neal has no front bumper. Let's see what happens at Gateway. Brad Delph and Sean Purcell, they sort it out.
Hersey in the grass.
Kyle Purcell the slide. He gets away. Jacob Gladulich spinning. It looks like it's raining.
2001 All-Star race. Anybody?
Cody Neal at the racetrack. He's got nothing.
Caution on the speedway. One car spinning.
Lockett. No, not Lockett. Who else? Thomas Taylor.
It's another bad day for Taylor. Everyone just struggling on the restart. Brock Hersey going down left quarter as well.
Here's a recap of the restart for the 57 car of Taylor. He's back here with Finnegan. Finnegan goes by. Gladulich is going to be free here in a second as Hersey was sliding. There's Gladulich way down low. And I believe it's going to be an involvement with Gladulich that gets the 57 car involved in this. Down to turn 3. Yep. Just kind of hooks the 57 around.
Unfortunate for Thomas Taylor, one of the drivers we talked about not too long ago, and he's sitting 3 laps down as well. So this isn't really much of a hindrance to his race, but at the same time, he could have been in position to get a free pass or even a wave around, and now he's just sitting turned around once again.
Who this really helps is Cody Neal. Going to keep him in the top 3 for a few more laps. Evan Patinko on the cusp of a top 3 this evening. Charlie Widener up here, finally. He's had nothing all day long. I mean, as low as 21st, he ran back there most of the night. Now up here in the top 5. Brad Delph. How is he 7th?
When everyone's wrecking out.
Yeah, it does. How is the 72 car 7th, though? I would love to know. So Brad Delph, he's going to be 7th on this upcoming restart. Timothy Harper, Kyle Purcell, Blake Hoppy. They complete your top 10. Well, Zach, let's go back to our upcoming broadcast one more time. Might be the final time in the evening as we approach 10 laps to go. Is there one specific track out of these 3 coming up that you maybe are looking forward to the most? I mean, we have 3 road course races coming up in the next week, if you include Sonoma. We go to Chicago, we go to Le Mans, we go to Sonoma. Devin Johnson tuning in. As sounds like something is going on for Zach Murtis, so we will continue on. Regardless, 3 really cool racetracks coming up that are all road courses. We do have New Hampshire in there tomorrow night, June 3rd. Make sure you tune in for the Misfit Touring Series tomorrow evening, June the 3rd, at 8:45 Eastern. And I cannot overstate this Majors 24 broadcast. This is going to be a big one for us at Pit Stop TV. It's going to be some more unique coverage to what you might expect from us. It's going to be a big week getting ready for it. I know my beautiful fiance, Kayla, is going to be shaking her fist at me that I've got so much broadcast work up ahead as she works through school. But it's appreciated for sure. And Devin Johnson, you're right. You came to watch at the right time. Less than 10 laps to go when we get back going green flag. Vincent Loria on the racetrack. He's leading. Justin Bissonette second. Cody Neal third. Evan Patinko, Charlie Widener, your top 5. Actually dial up driver 95 briefly and see how he's doing as he gets to go restart from 5th spot here, Charlie. It's been a rough day for you. We've seen you in the back a lot. Suddenly you're up here in the top 5 at go time, or were you just saving something, or has it just been luck of the draw?
I definitely took it way too easy at the start of this race, so luckily I was able to get back up here, just using pit strategy, staying out. Tire wear has been pretty good so far, so I'm just trying to hold off and get a decent finish here.
The line around the name Charlie Widener just about all season has been the best driver without a win. Can you change that this evening or even next week at Sonoma?
Yeah, we're gonna try. That's all I can say. I'm gonna do my best here.
Best of luck to you. It's been good to see you. Now moving closer to the front of the field here for this restart. Best of luck on this latest one.
All right, thank you.
Driver 95 getting ready to go back green flag racing behind Vincent Loria and Justin Bissonette. Loria this time going to choose bottom, Bissonette outside, then Neal and Patinko. I'm surprised by this move. Very surprised by this move from Vincent Loria.
Haven't seen that all day. Everyone's been choosing top.
We'll see what happens this time around. Less than 10 laps to go at Gateway. Green flag is back out. Can we race to the end? Loria, a big move. Neal up to the inside. He's going to throw it and try to get by Bissonette. Puts the 06 up the racetrack. Patinko sideways. Sean Purcell in the back end of the 96 car. We're off the corner. Widener gets hooked by Bissonette. He's going to be broadside. And there goes Delph around. It's chaos in the backstretch. Big one. Zach Lockett's in it. Hand over fist. They crashed from turn 2 to turn 3.
I'm going to agree with the sentiments of Jacob Gladulich. That was the longest delay of a caution flag I have ever seen. Everyone tried to save it, and ultimately went downhill from there.
Watch the Ford 06 top of your screen. Neal charges into the corner. He knows he's got to for track position. That puts Bissonette up the racetrack, makes these guys 3 wide. Wider down low. Patinko's trying to hang on to it. Bissonette comes off the wall and hooks the 95. He goes sliding, narrowly missed by the 91 of Hoppy, but that's what actually draws this caution, Zach, because as Hoppy goes low to miss it, he ends up hooking Hanover Fist, or no, rather Brad Delph on the inside. Watch Hoppy now. The green and white machine. He goes down, hooks the 72. The 72 gets spun across, and he ends up collecting the 69, who ends up collecting the 93.
My goodness. What a topsy-turvy twist of events right now. Looking at pylon, nobody's got a massive amount of damage that's going to end up ending their race. We do have one driver, Luke Lukowski. He's got a black flag right now. Everyone seems like they're going to be able to keep going here. Looking at it from Zach Lockett. See Delph. He almost made it through. So close. He about had it cleared, and then he saw the 69 out of the right side. And, well, that's all she wrote.
And there you see the 93 car in the pit lane taking repairs. What a chaotic day.
Chaotic is an understatement.
These guys had us fooled earlier, but let's dial up driver 93, who was a passenger for everything that just happened on the backstretch. Zach, what in the world just happened?
I don't even know, man. A very hectic backstretch right there. I don't know. I got a little bit of wheel damage, so I wasn't trying to push it too much anyways, and I just saw like half the field spinning in front of me and just had nowhere to go. So back in the pits, back getting some of this optional repaired, but I messed myself up on a pretty good top 10 day. I just lost it coming out of 4 earlier in the race and ruined my race. So I don't know, lot going on.
So focusing ahead then, Sonoma coming up next. Do you have any high hopes there?
Yeah, I mean, Sonoma's, I think besides Watkins Glen, I gotta go to the end. Sonoma is definitely my favorite road course. Been trying to put in some laps here for the past couple weeks there. Feel good, especially if it's going to be a hot, slick track, which I anticipate it being. I feel like I have a good chance to just kind of make it and be around at the end of the race. So looking forward to that. And then I think we get into like New Hampshire and Iowa and some of those smaller tracks. So looking forward to the summer stretch. Definitely when we get to the Indianapolis race and Pocono, those are going to be a couple races I have circled. So looking forward to those too.
Well, congratulations on the new home, and best of luck here as the summer goes on.
Thanks, man. Hopefully talking to you more soon.
That's the hope. Zach Lockett, going to restart this race from 19th. A rough day for sure. And we're going to be inside. Zach, here we go. Let's pull out the overtime graphic. We're looking at it at this point. We aren't going to go into overtime on this restart. In fact, this would have been 5 to go. We'll restart. It looks like we're going to take 4. This would have been 4 to go. We're going to restart with 3 to go. So this overtime graphic does not come into effect yet, Zach, but for those that don't know, when we go into green-white checkered territory and start having to extend this race, if we cannot finish this race under green, we get 3 attempts to finish it through a green-white checkered process, which the details are outlined there on the bottom right. I know the text can be kind of small for some of you mobile users, so we will get 2 laps if we have to extend this race. A green lap and a white lap, and then checkers will end it. If the green lap is completed, the race is official no matter what happens at the final lap. We'll race back to the end. If the green lap is not completed on the first 2 attempts, the restart, or the caution will come out, we'll restart again. If all attempts are used, so if we're on the 3rd attempt and a caution comes out, that is the end of the race. We do not extend the race any further. So this race can theoretically work out to about 155, nearly 160 laps if they need it, Zach. Do we think we're going to go to overtime?
I think 1 overtime attempt is guaranteed. The rest, not sure. You got a lot of shakeups right now. Big thing I'm looking at, he got an EOL, and now he's back up. Timothy Harper's in 3rd. Here we go once again, Andrew.
Waiting on the restart zone. And green flag is back in the air. Let's hope we don't use any of those overtime attempts. Let's race it out of Gateway. 3 to go. Harper going to try and get to the back end of the 4 car. And there's the spinner. It's Patinko. Caution's out. We're going to go to overtime.
There's your first overtime attempt.
I'm glad we have the graphic.
My goodness.
Let's take a look back at what happens to the 96 of Evan Patinko. Down low, gets up high into the 06 car, and just goes for a spin. Chuck is on board here. Well, we are to that point, Zach.
Unfortunately, we are. I didn't think we would have to use overtime attempts, considering we just about went caution-free stage 1.
We did go caution-free stage 1.
And then the caution started coming in the 2nd stage, and now it has been, oh my goodness, we've had almost half of this race under yellow.
It didn't start that way. If you asked me in stage 1 if I thought we'd go to overtime, I would have said no. This race looks so clean, so green. I think this is a wake-up call for some drivers, because this has been a rough one, to say the least. We've had an intentional crash off of turn 2. We've had a lot of self-spins. And those self-spins, they do get penalized here in the Icon Cup Series. There is absolutely an incentive to make sure that you stay within your bounds of driving, if that makes sense. Because if you do step outside of those bounds, and it's easy to make those mistakes, it's easy to go for spins like that, but if you step outside of those bounds and go for a spin, you get penalized. On a different topic, a brighter topic, how about the 78 car, 8th place?
about the 4 car? Second place, too. These guys both have no noses on their car after being involved in that late race incident together. And they're still hanging on. They're still doing everything they can.
Finnegan even 6th.
They're still all trucking along, doing everything they can. These short cautions definitely helping them keep their track position.
Yeah, there's Cody Neal just trying to hang on. We've avoided talking to him since stage 2 because I don't want to jinx anything. Same with Vincent. Same with even Timothy Harper, with Sean Purcell. Even Justin Bissonette's still in the top 5. Don't want to talk to these guys right now and potentially jinx anything. I wasn't always a believer in the commentator jinx, announcer jinx, whatever. But as of late, especially with Cody Eldred, I don't want to chance it. Do you want to chance it? I can bring somebody up if you want to talk to him.
No, let's not chance it. We already struck the commentator's curse on Cody.
Let's see, as far as fuel goes, the top 2 have been on the racetrack now for 49 laps in Vincent's case, 45 in Cody's case. Of course, they've had enough cautions. Fuel is no concern. Blown away. I really am. This has been a rough race. These guys have had some really good racing as of late. It's not that I can't say the same tonight because there's been good racing, but this has been a rough one. Gateway has got the best of these guys for sure.
I don't really know what else to say other than the fact that we're going into overtime. Lights are going to go out atop the pace car this time. Oh,
you know what I can say? I will play devil's advocate here because this is a very difficult racetrack in this car. It is unique, which is great. It is very difficult. It's a fantastic track because of that reason, because it forces these guys to make mistakes. But it's definitely a very, very, very tough place to run, and especially in this next-gen car. I think if you brought the Gen 6 here, it would be a completely different conversation. It would still be free, but it would be a more natural feeling to these guys. This Gen 7, this next-gen car, is just so foreign in so many ways. It doesn't really do the oval racing thing as well as the Gen 6, I feel. It does intermediates pretty nicely, but these more side force dependent tracks, we'll say, not so much. We'll have 2 laps to go.
Re-rack them, restack them. Nighttime's the right time to party. Here we go.
Restart, overtime restart rules back on your screen. Waiting on the green flag of the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out at Gateway. Let's settle this thing. A big move from the 78 of Brian Smith. He's going to send it on Bissonette.
3 wide going into turn number 1.
He might get a top 5 out of this. He's going to move up the racetrack now and cuts off the 06.
That was really, really tight. Almost got hooked around. Very smart to not get hooked around right there. But Loria's boot scooting away as Timothy Harper's trying to work on.
Brian Smith, big send there on the 6 car. Nearly got into him.
I think he did get into him. Got a little loose there.
If we get back around to the white flag, this race is official. Harper's going to spin.
Harper.
White flag is in the air. They're
behind.
crashing out of 4 caution. This race is not over.
Oh my goodness. I thought they took the white flag. I saw it waving.
This race is not over. Finnegan is destroyed this time for sure.
What is leaking out the back of the car? I've never seen that before.
It's the particles from dragging.
Really?
You don't see them very often.
Because he's even leaving a trail on the track, and it looks like he's going to take a tow.
Wow. Finnegan got loose. There he goes. Gladjulich got loose. Harper got loose. Finnegan, I thought, had it saved. He was just tail slapping back and forth. Who hits him here? Brad Delph, who's already crashed.
My goodness.
So Gladjulich is a big part of all of this. Here he is. He's free through 3 and 4, sliding. Widener's going to get flat into the back of him. And Widener checking up causes this big crash with Lockett involved, Patinko. Nyman even gets a piece there at the end. How does the 72 wreck? Ah, he was the one that got through this, and then gets into Rakoski. Rakoski ends up coming
hooks
down.
him. Probably just got loose from the contact that was made, and then, oh no. That's what cleaned out Finnegan.
Well, we'll try it again. Oh boy. Overtime rolls back on your screen. While we have the opportunity, Zach, let's catch our breath. We have another overtime restart on the way. The front of the field looks like this. Vincent Loria, Cody Neal, Sean Purcell, Brian Smith, Timothy Harper. Blake Hoppy is now into the top 10. He is 6th. After crashing twice in stage 1, I would have said never. Kyle Purcell, Justin Bissonette, Anthony Campbell, Joshua Clemens, your top 10.
I'm just blown away.
How is this car 4th? I mean, I know we've covered Cody. He's had track position on the restarts. But how has this car come back through the field after being 20th place to be 4th? I think we're going to talk to him. I think he's going to have a post-race interview here. I think he's in the top 3.
You never know. It's very well possible everyone's just hanging on for dear life right now. Vincent Loria is just trying to make it all the way to the finish line, and I think Brian Smith might actually give him a run for his money if he can get that car back up to where it needs to be. So much going on throughout the field. If you would have told me that the top 10 would have been how it is now, I probably would have walked out the front door.
There's Nyman in the pit lane. Thomas Taylor is on the racetrack again. Ryan Patty in the pit lane. He's been trying to maintain. He's now 8 laps down in 23rd. There he goes. Cody Eldred back on the racetrack. He's 12 laps down. So these guys have passed Stephen Tuck and Kevin Gunther. And they may well pass Finnegan and Delph if the laps allow. Well, weather conditions on the racetrack, they have changed significantly. The track temp has come down, the air temp has come down. And Zach, here we go. 1 to green, that time by the flag stand. This is our second attempt at a restart.
You think we'll get the third one?
I hope not. Again, I go back to this being a very difficult racetrack. This is not a combo I personally would want to be racing, so I don't envy them at all. And all of the mistakes, I think, are very valid mistakes. It's been guys just getting loose. I can't knock them. I probably would do the same thing, so it's difficult. I say it's been a rough race, and I think it has. I think it's fair to say that. I don't mean that at all as a slight to any drivers, or certainly not the league. This has just been a rough race, and you get that sometimes. But we are going to re-rack and restack one more time at the very least, and try this overtime thing again. Into the Geico restart zone one more time. Let's see if we can get this one official. Green flag back in the air. Cody Neal on the outside. A bit of a stumble there on the restart. Brian Smith through to 3rd.
He's moving too.
Oh, the 06, Bissonette, and he's going to go around. Caution. They're crashing behind.
More cars involved. Patenko in the wall. One more chance.
Bissonette just free, but what happens to Patenko? He's back here with Nyman, Galadulich getting blocked by Rakoski. I think it's part of it because they're straight. They're fine. Rakoski comes up the racetrack, spins them both. And Rakoski promptly towed. Well, let's see here. This on board with the 33 car. Watch him there. Gladulus pulls out. Rakoski covers it. And there's contact made. Rakoski gets free. And overcorrects.
Just an unfortunate set of circumstances. Rakowski had a lot of damage he had to get fixed under one of the previous cautions, and get involved in an incident like that does not help him one bit. As he's right on board here with Bissonette. This was up the road a little bit. A little bit of contact there with Timothy Harper, and then just a wee bit of contact with Purcell, and round he goes. Nobody hit him though, thankfully, so he's going to be all good to keep going.
We'll go on board now with Kyle Purcell in the 01 car. There goes Bissonette on the top side. Harper had a decent moment into the corner as well, so we'll take a look at that. Watch Harper, the black and blue 12 car, the Ford Mustang, right behind Sean Purcell. Right here, I thought he was going to get into the 91 car and get real free, but Blake Hoppy is going to edge him. Whoa, and there, yeah, there as well. That's what I saw. Blake Hoppy just gets 5th place away from him before the caution comes out. Now let's flip back to Evan Patinko here in the 96 car and see what happened from his perspective.
Got quite a bit of a restart right there. Didn't really work in his favor. I think he's having some handling issues as well. Saw the wheel skewed as there's spinning in front. Oh, just does what he can to miss and ends up making contact.
Meanwhile, from Nyman's perspective.
There's the spinning up in front. Just, honestly, I probably he thought he was going to make it through, and then all of a sudden ends up going spinning from contact, so I think the mindset was, hey, I'm going to make it through it. I'm all good. I'm going to make it through it. Oh, wait, I'm spinning.
This will be our third final attempt at a green-white checkered restart. Looks like we'll double up this time by, and sure enough, we will. So, Zach, recap us here. How does the overtime process work?
Well, Andrew, 2 laps of racing, a green, a white, and a checkered. Take the green flag on the first lap, come back around, take the white flag, and then come back around and take the checkered flag. If the green lap is completed, and we do take the white flag, I'm sure Vincent Loria thought we did that on the first attempt. But if the green lap is completed, we take the white flag. That is the race, regardless of a crash or a caution. If the green lap is not completed, then the race will restart again unless we are on the 3rd attempt. That if caution comes out, should it may, on this final attempt, the race will be official, and we will crown us a winner regardless of if we take the white or the checkered flag. Re-racked and restacked, Andrew. We've got 2 cars on the bottom that do not have a nose. We've got one of those cars that has 30-lap pressure tires in both the cars in front of him. Maybe those tires will offset the damage he has. Who knows?
I'm going to find out. Final attempt at a restart here. Final attempt at finishing this race under green flag conditions. If we complete this lap, we race it out. Otherwise, caution ends the race. Restart again. Vincent Loria, Cody Neal, Brian Smith, and Sean Purcell to settle it.
Smith with a big send going into turn number 1. Purcell up the racetrack. Look at Brian. He's got a real good run, but I don't know how well it's going.
Oh, hello.
There he goes, spinning.
Just hangs onto it. Maybe. What a catch. We're going to race it out up front. Vincent Loria leading this race through turns 3 and 4. Coming to the white flag this time by, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. Can we get there? The answer is no. Caution is out. This race is over. Vincent Loria is your winner at Gateway.
We almost made it, Andrew. We were very, very close, but The cautions did not fall the way they needed to for us to finish this race under green. How about that top 3, though?
Blake Hoppy was at the very back, a lap down in stage 1 after crashing.
Twice!
Yeah, here he is. 3rd place. We're going to talk to him.
What a race. What a topsy-turvy end
Actually,
to this
we're going to
thing.
cancel that replay. We're going to just watch this moment because our race winner is about to come across the start-finish line and end this race. Vincent Loria, Cody Neal, Blake Hoppy, Timothy Harper, Joshua Clemens. What a way to end this race. Race winner, Vincent Loria. I'm blown away. We will get a replay or two of that final crash that puts us under yellow to end this one. But Zach, there's your race winner at Gateway from pole. But that barely tells the story.
I'm at a loss for words, actually, honestly. I don't know what to say. This race has been crazy. Great to see Vincent Loria take this win, but you gotta feel for guys like Brian Smith. He led, what, 75 to 80% of this race?
117 laps, I believe. But here we go, on to the front stretch, and burnouts overdue for the 67 car at this point, and he is going to celebrate here at Gateway. Just unbelievable the way this race worked out. He'll be joined by his teammates, Cody Neal and Anthony Teseo. What a day of racing.
He was out in one of the earlier cautions. And just what an absolute turn of events tonight.
Well, the Pit Stop TV logo goes to Victory Lane for the 2nd time in 2 broadcasts. How about that?
What a night. What a great night for Pit Stop TV too. Nice to see those logos absolutely being represented by
we've seen
burnouts.
We've seen more and more drivers put the logo on the car. We certainly do appreciate it. There you go. Overhead look at the racetrack. Let's go back and take a look as to what in the world just happened at the end of this race. Go back one more time. This is, I guess, after the crash has just happened. We'll track down this restart. And it's going to be Sean Purcell, one of the hometown drivers. Sean's going to drop from racing for 3rd rather, to 14th. Gets free here, collects his brother Kyle, and oh no. Kyle comes up the racetrack. That brings out the caution. I thought it was going to be bigger than that, honestly, Zach, but a simple spin there for the 04 car, and that is all she wrote.
Unfortunate. These drivers are having such great runs, and you know, we've made the comments about it all night. It's been a driver's track. You have to be able to handle this car with the utmost precision, and everyone's been struggling all night to be able to keep this car and all 4 wheels on the racetrack, and we've seen firsthand just about in every single caution tonight how easy it is for the car to get away from you.
Take a look at the race results. Vincent Loria by a half second over Cody Neal. Of course, it was under caution. Blake Hoppy, 3rd place. The rest of the top 10 follow on through. Harper, Clemens, Campbell. Kyle Purcell hangs on for 7th. Jacob Galadulich in the top 10. Zach Lockett came back to the top 10 along with Brock Hersey. Look at the rest of the field. A bloodbath.
not what you'd expect tonight. Drivers who were up towards the front having real bad nights. Everyone just rolling through the rest of the field. You can see so many different drivers that were up front today and finished laps down at the end of the night.
Well, let's bring in race winner Vincent Loria. That has got to sound pretty good. Another race win to your total here, and you'll officially take the number 2 seed now in the playoffs. That's got to feel even better.
Yeah, man, feels great. It was quite the eventful / uneventful race there. Ended up kind of cycling to the front on some strategy call and a bunch of cautions. Nobody could really get the time to get anything going, so don't feel super good about it. I wish I could have been the one that led 100 laps, but we'll take wins when you can get them.
Well, 39 laps led for you, and you lead through the end of the race with all of those overtime restarts. You bring home your teammate, Cody Neal. Finally, a day goes okay for him on the scoring pylon, at least. Not great as far as the way the car looked. How do you wrap this up? How do you summarize this race from a team perspective, not just a driver perspective?
Yeah, no, I think the team did good. I mean, Josh Clemens bringing home top 5 there. Cody obviously finishing P2 with a questionable race car, I guess you could say. Unfortunately, Anthony got involved in something early, so 3 of the team members here had a really good finish. I mean, 3 in the top 5, I'd say, is pretty good. I'd like to see Anthony get some points. I know he's sitting right outside right on the playoff bubble as of right now, so want to keep the big mistake weeks to a minimum, but from a team perspective, I think we're trending in the right direction. I'm glad to get some more playoff points here and hopefully carry some momentum into Sonoma.
Well, it's good to talk to you when the night's over here, Vincent. Best of luck in Sonoma, Iowa, New Hampshire, everywhere we're going up here in the summer, and hopefully we're talking to you a lot more. I know we will be.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate it.
A big thank you as well to Vincent for carrying the Pit Stop TV logo to victory lane. Let's grab his teammate, though, Zach, who we talked to earlier after stage 2. He was a top finishing driver not named Brian Smith in that stage. Here he is.
Yeah, Cody, well, I just thought of this on the fly. Cody No-Nose Neal finishes second here tonight at Gateway. What a race. What a topsy-turvy twist of events. Did you even think you were going to be able to finish second here tonight with no nose on the car?
Not at all, but I knew if I pit, I really had no chance at being anywhere near the top 10, so I just, you got to take some risks, and that's one that prevailed for me, so that's good.
Well, the strategy certainly paid off because you certainly kept yourself in front of the commotion that unfolded on these 3 green-white checkered attempts. Did you think you were going to have anything for Vincent? Do you think the tires would have helped in any way? We saw Brian be able to make headway even though he had just about as much damage as you did, but he had way fresher tires than both of you. So do you think maybe somehow the tires could have played in? Do you think maybe you would have had something for him?
No shot. I don't even think he would have had a chance for Vincent, really. All that added downforce on your front end with no front end, right? You just get plowing tight, but I don't know, it was a good run.
Well, you certainly pulled away with a good amount of points here tonight. Some stage points and a second place finish. So you're looking good going into Sonoma. Do you have anything to think about going into a road course next race, or do you think maybe you might write it off as just a week that you can take and cruise since you're respectively comfortable above the playoff cut line?
Yeah, we're going to cruise into hopefully another top 5. If not win. I feel like I'm pretty good there, and hopefully we can bring our best stuff.
Well, Mr. No-Nose, Cody Neal, pulling it off with a second place finish tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was your second place finisher here tonight, Andrew, and someone we really didn't expect to be talking to, considering how early he got involved in incidents tonight.
He actually is not reported to Discord, so we will not be talking to Blake Hoppy this evening.
I was really hoping to hear how he was able to get that car up inside the top 5.
Yeah, he didn't.
I think you were as eager as I am to hear how that went for him.
didn't quite report, so we won't speak with him, but that's okay. We'll be able to take a look through what we have upcoming here for the Icon Cup Series. Next up, we head out to Sonoma Raceway for 66 laps. We have an off week for the broadcast as these drivers head out to Iowa Speedway for race number 16 on June 16th. Then we go out to New Hampshire Motor Speedway on June 23rd. Then it's to Nashville June 30th and to Chicago to open up July. Then Pocono, Indianapolis, and the old Atlanta Motor Speedway. We still have not yet been to Atlanta this season. We've got to go there here over the summer. The old Atlanta scan, then to California, Richmond, and Michigan before we wrap up the regular season and kick off the playoffs at Daytona. A reminder, we have three races in each round, including the round of 4, that will dictate our championship. But that'll do it this evening for us at Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway. What a day it has been. Thank you for tuning in. I know it's been a long one here for us, but Zach, how do you wrap this one up in a few words?
Caution flag yellow. I think that's the best way to really express how this race has gone, especially the second half. You know, we never expected any of these cautions to unfold, and then all of a sudden, wreck after wreck after wreck after wreck, especially in the third stage there, those 3 green-white checkers. I think, all in all, the racing itself was good, and then towards the end when the cautions just started unfolding, every single one of them just breeded another. And I think a lot of these drivers need to sit down, reflect on how it's been, and hopefully say, well, let's put some crunch time and hard work into going into Sonoma next week.
Definitely an off day for the series as a whole. I think they'll get right back to it here these next few races. Sonoma, Iowa, New Hampshire, some really cool racetracks coming up as we break into these summer months. Again, thank you for tuning in this evening. It has been a pleasure. The Icon Cup Series on Pit Stop TV, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, and CC's Business. This has been Race 14. Again, next up, Race 15 out to Sonoma. Do not miss it. We've covered the upcoming broadcast. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night for the Misfit Touring Series at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Kind of a preview of what we'll see at New Hampshire here in a couple of weeks for the Icon Cup Series. Then Tuesday, we go to the Chicago Street Course with the XCal Racing Series, so on and so forth. Do not miss Majors 24 coverage this weekend. Until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you all at Sonoma. Hopefully we see you throughout the week, though. Make sure to chime in on YouTube. We'll see you next time.